Welcome back to the Fast Life Podcast. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Before we get into this, I'd like for you guys to check out our sponsors. Have you guys checked out the new Speed Bandit from Simpson motorcycle helmets? It's a fresh new helmet design that comes in at a very affordable price tag of $279. I have had the Speed Bandit for quite some time. It's super lightweight and utilizes the same visor as a Ghost Bandit. Head on over to SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com to check out all the models, finishes, and visor options, and also give them a follow on Instagram at Simpson Motorcycle Helmets. Lexin not only can keep your helmet banging with your favorite tunes or podcasts with the FG4 Pro, but now offers their WPC QI wireless charger, which is a water-resistant wireless charger for the Ram Mount X grip. This easy to set up system uses a battery tender style plug for easy install and will only set you back $64.95 with a 2-year unlimited warranty. You can also grab yourself a Lexin WPC and Ram X mount for $110 at lexin-moto.com. And at checkout, drop the Fast Life offer code to save yourself 15% off. And don't forget to give the team a follow on Instagram at Lexin Moto. thundermax and their ECM computers are designed to provide your EFI-equipped Harley-Davidson with the most advanced auto-tuning available. A thundermax ECM eliminates tuning hassles when upgrading your exhaust or air cleaner, or when you're adding a cam or big board kit, by simply allowing you, the user, the ability to download a base map and let the computer do the rest. Also, a hot item is their iRide rear suspension, which is a performance air ride rear suspension, giving you the ability to adjust many aspects from the handlebar mounted touchscreen. This rear suspension is the best of both worlds. Check out these products and many more at shoptmax.com and use offer code FASTLIFE to save yourself 10% off at checkout. And also, give thundermax EFI a follow on Instagram. John Jessup's Dream Rides is your hub for everything Harley-Davidson out of Stockton, California. It's a spot for in-house dyno tuning, customizing, parts, service, and bike sales. Also check out teamdreamrides.com online store to see the full array of products for your bike and you as a rider. And you can take advantage of the 100 days same as cash financing on all products. All you need is a job and a bank account. And while you're at it, give John and the team a follow at DreamRidesJohn on Instagram. Paint Huffer Metal Flake is your number one source to get dialed in with the latest flakes, pearls, and other custom paint products. Paint Huffer has grown to become the standard in the custom paint game, and you can get down with these badass products at painthuffer.com, and you can save yourself some coin by using the FastLife20 offer code at checkout. And last but not least, you can get some inspiration by checking out all the amazing paint work created with Paint Huffer products at Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram. Welcome back, folks. I want to thank you guys for joining us. Today's guest is Les. He goes by SteakxShrimp on Instagram. He is a rapper from Houston. He's been in the game for a minute. We talk a lot about that. I met him a couple years back at Nitty Gritty Chopper Nitty Gritty Chopper City. You got to say that real slow. You'll fuck up like I did. Zombie Mike, good friend of mine. He puts that on. I was staying with him this weekend, recording a couple podcasts with all the homies down in Houston. And, Les is a biker. He's been riding bikes for a while. He's in between bikes at the moment, but I got faith in him. But, I grew up here in Texas. I've always listened to rap music. I grew up on that shit. And I just thought it'd be fun to talk to him and see about some insights of that part of this, the industry or whatnot. So here we go. Les, Steak and Shrimp. Check it out.
Hey, guys. You ready to let the dogs out?
Fast Life Podcast.
Les.
What's going on, man?
Why is it so hot down here in Houston, man? The fuck?
It's not that hot.
It's ridiculous.
It's extremely hot.
It ain't that
I'll never be used to this shit.
Are you from here originally or what?
Nah. I moved here from Louisiana. But, my family always stayed here. My mom always stayed out here.
So you, from, New Orleans area or something like that?
New Orleans, Louisiana, yep.
Isn't the heat the same or is it a little bit more cool?
I don't think so. Either that or when you're a kid.
Yeah.
I think it just feels different. Like you're young, you want to be outside.
I remember because when I was like in my early 20s, late teens, and I was driving, I didn't give a fuck about no AC. I was just like, man, I just want to have a nice car.
You want to be in the car.
Yeah, so I didn't, sweating my ass off in a wife beater, sometimes no shirt on, keep it white trash.
Now as an adult, I bet your ass won't go black without AC.
Dude, I put AC in my whole bike shop, dude. It's like, I don't even know.
Who put AC on your bike if you could? Everybody be making fun of people like that. Like, whatever. Comfort is king.
I think that's why people end up going to trailers, because the AC's in the car, and it's like, fuck it, I'll just end up taking the bike there or something. But no, I mean, it's I was telling him, like, I haven't been down to Houston, like, and just stayed in the city.
Yeah.
In probably like 8 years, because I used to do a lot of stuff with the lowrider Los Magnificos down here.
Yeah, for sure.
And I used to run their little motorcycle show. They would have a motorcycle division of their car show, and I would come down here and kind of curate that stuff. And then I do like live like airbrushing and shit while I'm.
That's crazy. I caught the tail end of that. I did 2 of those. It was like kind of going. It was like the peak of it had ended when I first came into the music shit.
I think that Dub kind of took it over because
for a second. It was for a second, but Dub kind of got weak too.
Yeah,
it was something about those car shows with the music, with the music that just wasn't working no more.
Yeah, and in Dallas, they'd have the Dub show, and it's like you'd have this almost like 2 different crowds, from like the people that are in there for the car and then people in there for the concert.
Show, yeah.
So,
because then the radio usually promotes it, and I know like just being in the music game, they always call it like the radio crowd.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the radio crowd is just, they only care about that. And then like that Dub show ends up being like, then another thing is, if we keep it real, we'll probably never get a Dub sponsorship now. But nobody that's serious about cars really cares about the Dub car show. That's kind of like for the cars that most car guys and bike guys that will see bikes up there would probably consider ugly. Like,
it's a little more extreme. It's kind of like it's kind of like just over the top. It almost, to me, it devalues the car a little bit to the point.
A lot of chrome, a lot of lights.
Yeah. Well, Houston's always been known for like having their own kind of eclectic style of like even car.
Our chrome and lights is a little different. Like we got the slabs and stuff like that. Yeah. But that chrome and lights is a little different than the chrome and lights of like the Dub car show.
Yeah.
It reminds you like the Midnight Club video games, and I love those video games. I got an album named after it. But it's like that's the style of like the Dub car show stuff. It's real gaudy. That's the word.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I was kind of about to touch on before we turn these mics on. Is like following you after the last like a year or two now. All the shit that you use to kind of co-brand your like album releases and song releases is like the shit that I grew up with, like Gran Turismo,
right.
Midnight Club, all these like old racing games and kind of like that synth wave kind of vibe of art and shit like that. So I always thought that shit was pretty cool. Plus, I asked you about the Nissan earlier because I grew up all Nissan. Like I was one of the first dudes in Texas putting like Skyline motors in 240s back in the early 2000s. You know what I mean? Like
that was the best conversion too. That was the only conversion. The SR20s.
SR20. So we did SR20s, but we also were the first ones. Not me, but my shop that I was working in. We were the first ones to do an RB25 because the 25s was the rear wheel drive only instead of all wheel drive. So you could do one of those into a 240, but it's like firewall to fucking
like all the way in there.
Yeah, dude, it's in there tight.
Man, it's just that era, bro. Like how old are you?
38 next month.
Yes, I'm 34. So it's like we all came up in that magazine era.
Super Street,
import tuner rim. They had the little anime in the back of it. Just
Initial D drift videos.
Initial D videos.
Remember the Buster?
Yeah, I was about to say we getting there. Then of course, like that's the biggest point of all of it. I think all of us from the original Fast and Furious era that was here to experience it, just got your license, was about to get your license, or had your license at for a minute at that time. If you were just anywhere under 25 when that movie came out, I think it just changed.
Yeah, because
everybody's perspective.
Street race culture back then, like if you didn't have like family that was into that shit, it was really hard, or close homies that like. Hey man, I got me and we're doing a race now. Like fucking racing, what's that? You know what I'm saying?
And that opened everybody's eyes because some of us knew it already. That was already into the magazines and really into cars. But a lot of people their eyes opened up to the shit that they had and didn't appreciate and wanted other shit, and
Good
finding
point,
out
yeah.
that, oh, this shit, I have a Civic. My
Per-
parents didn't
perfect
give me.
story, yeah.
My parents didn't. Okay, like even I knew kids would come up on this. Like this is big to us. One of your homies that got a little bit of money, parents get some Integra Type R, and he's complaining because he wants a Mustang. You're like, yo, bro, no, check out what you have.
Yeah.
You have a Type R Integra, and they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this is kind of cool. And I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, it's super cool. Like, this is like you know what I'm saying? Like, but you complain, like, I didn't, my first car was a Tercel. All I wanted was a fucking Toyota Tercel. All I wanted was a Honda CRX.
Yeah.
That's not much to want in 2000.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
smallest
like, you know
one.
what I'm saying? Like, that's all I wanted. So I'm like, I said, I had homies with Integras and you know, Civic SIs and
We
shit
used to
like
do
that.
the LS VTEC
Oh,
swap.
yeah,
You know, you
yeah.
get fucking like it's a time bomb motor,
Yeah.
but that motherfucker ran
It's
for a
gonna blow
minute.
the fuck up.
Yeah. So that's funny you say that because that's exactly what it was. Like my chick, which is my daughter's mom at the time we were together,
Yeah.
she had a 240 SX, right? And then she wrecked it, so it was just kind of hanging out at her parents' house forever. That movie came out, and I'm like, what are these
doing with
cars?
this
You know what I'm
car?
saying?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, so I ended up like, I grew up in the collision industry.
Yeah.
So, next thing you know, we grabbed that car after that movie came out and fixed it up. And then I got deep into the 240 Nissan stuff. And so I'm really good at getting to the middle of an industry really quick, like to the guts
Like,
of
to
it,
the bones,
who's
like,
doing shit.
Yeah, getting in there. Yeah.
And I just walked into this shop in Dallas, and next thing you know, 3 months later, me and this cat are driving to Cali to pick up front clips from when they would get shipped in with the motor clips and shit. We were taking U-Hauls out there, loading them up, and then driving them back here.
A ton of them shits too.
We used to, dude. It used to be fun,
Dallas
man.
was a hotbed for that. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the import. I want to say maybe even more than Houston was at that time. Like Dallas had
The
a lot
first
of
drift
cars.
event I ever did though was down here at that damn Greyhound Park down there, just south of Houston. There's like
Oh God, what was it
Oh,
called?
you're talking about the Greyhound Park over there by Galveston?
Yeah.
so that was the first
drift.
drift event ever done in Texas,
Word,
and
in
it
the
was
parking lot.
probably
Yeah.
I want to say it was 2004.
That sounds about right. That damn big.
I remember it's
ass
funny
parking
as
lot.
fuck because me and my buddy that was also into the cars rode down with me. We don't know how to drift.
Yeah.
We just like hit corners and skirt it a little bit. Yeah. My fucking front wheel came off of my car while we were out there.
Yo.
So and it broke all the studs off. Right. So we ended up a homie down there. There was a fucking AutoZone. We ended up getting it fixed and making it home, but it was just embarrassing as fuck. Having my car, the way we got there from Dallas.
Your actual car. Yeah.
And I'm like,
what kind of car was it?
It was a 240. It was
That
the
was it,
same
the 240,
one.
or
Yeah.
you just went out there and said, "Fuck it, we're gonna get to it."
But that was when it was like I didn't really have any money yet, which I didn't have money for a long time after that. But I kind of hustled my way into an SR20, and then I had that for a minute, and then it got to a point where I started knowing the people and I was doing the swaps and shit.
After getting to know a lot of the homies in that drifting world, it's an obvious thing, but a lot of people don't think about it. That is a very expensive.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you're basically tearing your
It's
shit
the
up.
stunt world for cars.
Yeah, it's like you're just tearing your shit up. Like, and then the guys I'm cool with, like, their whole thing is they want to make sure they're on point with the way they do it in Japan.
Yeah.
Therefore, that means that shit has to look good.
Yeah.
And
It's all about
they
the
have
style.
it's a style you have to do. Because for a minute, it was like dudes would be out drifting with Miatas with mismatched bumpers, and they may be killing it, but it's like, yo, it looks like shit. You know what I mean? Like, your car is a piece of shit. So now, like, dudes have the graphics, the kids, the see on TEs, fucking just drifting on fucking
Hanging out the windows and
$8,000
shit.
Man,
wheels
the
and
guys
shit.
you've exposed me to
Yeah.
down here in Houston,
Yeah.
like they come with a whole team. It looks
Bro,
like a NASCAR pit crew.
Yeah,
Man, I don't know anything
serious.
about it, which is
Yeah.
why I'm being so quiet right now, because this is y'all's world,
No,
not mine.
but
But yeah, those guys are. I mean, they're serious. They're not
That's
messing
a
around.
good observation because it's like shit. They're serious. Like to me, I feel the same way he said. Because I'm like, I'm a fan. I like cars, so I drive.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if I had a car magazine, it would be about people's cars that they drive to work and do. Like, it'd be like my daily driven, your shit, like your car you live in. These dudes take these cars. Some of them they do actually drive these shits every day, but like these are cars built specifically to look good but fucking tear up. At
They
the same
show up
time.
so correct. Their old ladies are correct
Yeah.
when they show up. Like, their
Jackets.
chicks match the team.
All kind of shit. T-shirts, jackets, stickers.
Yeah.
I didn't even know there was like a thing about how the stickers had to be. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Well, back in the day, used to do that. So they used to have the running boards, and they fucking all the angles, all the stickers would be the same color.
Yeah,
so it'd be
yeah,
like
yeah.
a chrome sticker every brand that's on the car and shit. Back
Mark
in the
my
day.
word. I'm gonna say it right now. That's the next trend in Harley.
Think so?
Watch. Yep.
Man, look, Harley is getting very performance, sports based. The crowd, different crowd is coming.
When I first
there.
met you at Nitty Gritty, what was it, 2018?
Yeah.
I had only had that Road Glide I showed. That's my current Road Glide, but I had just bought that like a month. Yeah, so November was Nitty Gritty, right? Mm-hmm. And I picked it up September 18th. So
yeah.
And dude,
was that the good weather Nitty Gritty or the bad weather Nitty Gritty?
I think that was the good weather one. But I know the first
there
one
was
we
that was
at,
when they
well,
jumped
it
the
was,
fire.
It was both.
That
remember
was
the day
that was
of,
the fire jump, not the
bad weather
weather.
Nitty Gritty.
Because I got rained on
yeah.
the way home and it got fucked up.
It was the day that we was kicking it where the weather was cool.
Yeah,
That's why I said when they were jumping the fire and shit.
Les showed up and the clouds parted and everything was cool. And then the next day, all hell broke loose at Nitty Gritty.
Yeah, it rained. It was cold and rainy.
40 degrees,
man.
So like I said, it's I know that this story probably gets asked a lot, but I mean, for people, especially a lot of my listeners, I'm assuming like, how do you in this day and age, like how do you even get into the music business that way? Like what is there's definitely not a book that says do this. It's not like going to college and shit.
Man, I started doing this shit probably 2009, so I came in the strangest era. It's probably a little bit more clear for dudes who are starting right now. Like right now, you can just go to SoundCloud, put up your music, put it on your social media, and work that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's it. Like put it up for somebody to listen to, upload it to Apple. You know what I mean? You can get paid immediately. There's ways to do everything.
And then completely self-promote.
It's really actually easy to just set up everything now.
Mm-hmm.
Now to get people to listen to it, that's favor ain't fair. You know what I mean? Like you just got to figure it out on that end. That's on how you market it and if the shit is any good or catchy or whatever. But like when I came in the game, like 2009, I started at the time that maybe like there was really no way to figure out how to make money because the biggest artists in the game at the time, Drake and Lil Wayne and all these dudes were out and dropping free albums. So, okay, that's what you got going on. So me being a guy that nobody's ever heard to in your life, you can't even like fix your mouth to tell somebody, hey, pay to listen to me.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, at this time, there's no music, there's no Spotify streaming service, Apple Music. It was only iTunes. People weren't really like into just buying off iTunes just yet at that time. It was more of like still CDs in the stores.
I think the last CD I bought was probably 2008 or 9.
Yeah, it was around that time.
Yeah.
See, and this is when like, and in 2010 is where like, when I first started, I would work in a job like anybody else, and I would just press up CDs and hand them out, and I like see Slim Thug out and shit like that, and my homies worked in the club, so I would just be handing out CDs. Nobody would do that at that time, so I was like, if I want to get my name out there, I just hand them out like flyers, whatever. Yeah, shit just was like taking the L, on the money tip because you're not getting nothing. But like I said, Drake is making Drake is you gotta come get people to listen to you like Drake and shit.
The hardest the thing is like it I'll be honest with you, it's kind of annoying when you're like walking to the gas station, hey man, get my CD, but I don't knock the hustle though.
That's the thing. In the way I knew that was annoying. See, but the thing was, I did it before too many people started doing it, and then I made sure I did it what people wanted. You gotta read the room.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's one thing I've always been good at. Like if you're trying to hustle or do whatever, like you gotta read the room. You know when it's time to present something to somebody, and like you're a human, you know when you don't want that shit. Yeah. I always tell this story straight up. I have an album coming out with Bun B this year. In 2009, I tried to hand Bun B a CD in the gallery, and he said, "I don't want that shit."
Yeah.
And kept it moving.
10
years later,
I saw that you were doing that recording with them out there in West Texas and shit.
So it's like, that's why I say you gotta just be able to read the room, and I wouldn't expect that. I was just shooting my shot. I seen a big rapper, I'm not gonna not do it. You know what I mean? Like at that time, like I gave Slim. It's funny, like Slim's the guy who discovered me. I handed Slim my first demo 15 times, and the way he found out was through his DJ about me. You know what I mean? DJ Mr. Rogers, and that's when he was like, "Oh, this kid is dope." And I'm like, "Yeah, motherfucker, I handed you my tape 15 times, bro." I used to I handed him one on his Harley. Like he was on his Harley one night. I'm like, "Yo, check this out."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bet. He always was cool about it.
Yeah.
But you know,
How do you even do that now? Because I've even like this year I've had dudes try to hand me CDs and I'm like,
they're tripping.
yo man, like
Yeah,
I
like
don't
now,
know
yeah,
where
now
I'm gonna
like
play that.
That's what I'm saying. Like now, it's like, man, you just gotta like do that shit on social media. People have fun. It's so much easier for people just to.
Well, what if you just
Yeah.
like make the music? And you know, my brother's kind of into music. You know, he does more of that bluesy rock kind of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always say, it's like, man, just fucking make a good song, a little video with it, even if
Right.
it's just a homemade video, like playing the song in your house, and just sponsor that shit on like social media.
Yeah,
so
you
that
could pay for ads. It's like
Yeah.
there's a lot of ways to go about it, man. It's just
Yeah.
if it's dope, they'll
gonna
latch on to it. That's it. Like that's what a lot of people don't get, and it's not to discourage them. It's just like, yo, bro, if it's dope, they're gonna fuck with it.
Well, man, and that's the same thing too. Is
Yeah.
it's an over and over and over again thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, me and you know this better than
Yeah,
anybody
right.
else, man. We would hit anybody that would listen to us in the head with whatever we had going on in motorcycle for years and years and years until
Yeah.
things started to catch.
Yeah,
and it
you
wasn't
gotta
like,
stick.
oh my god, it caught, and now I'm.
Well, see, what's different
it
about
slowly
like us in the
catches
motorcycle
every
industry
time.
is that we can continue to hustle and just build it ourselves, which I think you can now.
Well, yeah, but see, that's where going back to where we were starting,
Yeah.
like how we got it going. Like I said, the time I came in, it was like 2009, and when Slim and them discovered me, like big artists were putting out majority of pretty much every up and coming artist, a big artist at that time, even Slim, the established artists were putting out music and touring for money. Putting out music for free, like
And then-
mixtapes.
Yeah.
Occasional album through their label if they had a label situation, and then they would tour off the music and make their money that way.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
So, but if you're a new artist like myself at that time, it's like, okay, I can't tour because nobody knows about me. There's no iTunes. I mean, there's no Apple Music. There's no
Yeah.
streaming. There's no SoundCloud. There's nothing. All they had was mixtape sites. So I got cool with a mixtape site called Live Mixtapes, where they put out mixtapes for free. It was them and that Piff.
So
And-
also around this time is when I was rocking a Harley, and you know we started going into the like the big wheel thing. It was kind of starting to happen, but they'd have those flip out screens,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And what you would do is you go to the gas station, you can get a DVD with like
all the videos,
Like 100
and,
videos on there.
MP3s
Yeah.
yeah. See, I actually had a few of those out too through Boss Hog Outlaws. But yeah. They got like I have like it's like
wanna see
it's
it.
like a 3 CD thing, and it had like 2 of my first mixtapes and then 1 CD DVD with like 30 videos on it.
You shot a video.
No, it was like a bunch of videos.
Oh,
Like
but
a bunch
you
I did with like
but
Slim
you
and all
have a
kind of
video?
stuff. Like just doing a bunch of like all different
wanna see
videos
it.
from different songs. No, it's hard. A
wanna
lot
check
of
it
them
out.
on
Yeah.
YouTube though.
Yeah.
I want to check it out.
Yeah, but like it was, man. At that time, we just had to kind of like put out music, build your base up, and then, like I said, we couldn't sell the music yet because streaming didn't pop up until 2015.
Okay.
2014, 2015. 2015 is the first time I did it.
I think they had Pandora out, but I don't know if they were.
Yeah,
really
but that Pandora didn't really pay like that at that time,
Yeah.
and that's another thing. Like it takes for different DSPs, the digital platforms, different ones. You know, this is like
the podcast. Yeah.
podcast shit. I was actually just listening to some podcast shit in the car, and they were talking about some real shit about what is a stream,
Yeah.
which we all still trying to figure out right now because all the DSPs are rich as fuck.
Yeah.
And
Giving
they're
Joe Rogan
getting
$100
paid
million.
off- and they're paid from streams. But what is a stream and how much is it worth? Nobody is telling us that, and every DSP has a different amount that they pay for streams. It's not making any sense.
Yeah.
So something is worth something, and it costs something, and nobody's making it clear what that is worth. And
Yeah.
the artists are getting very, very, very small.
See,
piece
that's
of
what.
it.
So you know, my brother, he started doing the Spotify thing before I did. The only
Yeah.
reason I went ahead and started paying for Spotify was because I listen to Joe Rogan. He's
Right.
going
Right.
exclusively on it. And I would always like try to buy albums just from the aspect of trying to support artists, even if it's even if it's Katy Perry, like
Right,
you know what I mean.
right.
Not that I have that, but just for
I bought a Taylor Swift CD. Though.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm
but
with
just
it.
for the
Yeah,
case,
yeah,
man.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
I like to know that shit's down on my phone, especially if I'm flying on a plane or I'm driving through a part of the country that has no service. But then you got Spotify where you have all like the entire album. Like it just dropped today, and I can literally listen to this whole album
The whole thing.
for nothing,
Yeah.
2 commercials or something. So that's it completely discourages buying a CD
That too.
or anything for
And that
like,
pays. It pays the artist, but even like little things with Spotify, like they have different worth to the exclusive content and the ones that people don't subscribe to.
So for us, if we were to do an exclusive, if we were to do all the podcast services have the ability to put up a paywall.
Yeah.
Right? 60% is what they take. So that means if I decided...
and you're just using their platform. There's nothing else.
If I decide to say, okay, if you want the Fast Life podcast now, you have to pay $5 a month, right? Or $1 a podcast. Then, that's the only way you can listen to it is to be subscribed or paid or whatever the case may be. Let's just say that it's $10,000, right? That revenue gets made. I get 4,000 of that.
That's crazy. And the only thing you're doing is just using their platform.
Exactly. And then, of course, the PayPal's going to take their side and all that
That's like
shit.
a trash-ass distribution deal. Like, that's like me signing a distribution deal with my distributor, which I do 90/10.
Yeah.
And saying, just because y'all are uploading my shit to DSPs, y'all get 60%. I would look at them fucking crazy. I'm like, no. Like, what are you talking about? Nah, that's crazy. And that's the thing, like and what they were saying on the spot. I know this is a whole different topic what we were talking about, but what they were saying is, cause I'm sure the podcasters listening to this, is
you'd be surprised, man.
Yeah.
Man, motherfucking, if a 3-minute song is worth X amount of dollars, then what the fuck is a fucking 2-hour podcast worth?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It has to be worth it.
Yeah,
You've held somebody's attention for 2 hours. That has to be worth a lot of fucking money.
But even then, you could also say that what's a 30-second... If you monetize it, then 30 seconds has got to be worth what 30 seconds is worth versus what a second...
I've only listened to podcasts on Apple. I've never listened to a podcast on Spotify, so I don't know if Spotify... And I'm sure they do. They put their own advertisements on the podcast, meaning like... I
don't think so because I got the premium. Yeah, I got premium,
but
when I listen to the ones I listen to on it, I don't hear any ads. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So that's the point of. I pay for premium YouTube and premium Spotify just so that I can watch it.
I remember we were all old enough to remember YouTube's beginnings and shit, and I remember just being able to watch YouTube. If you don't get premium now, that shit is hell.
Dude, it's hard. It's people put
like
8 ads
in
their
and then
video.
the ads will be fucking 30 minutes.
The ads is 30 minutes long. I ended up watching a whole movie. It's an ad. It's great. I didn't pay for it, but
Just pay the $16, man.
They tripped me the fuck out with that one day. I was like, yo, that ad is still playing? It's still on. I'm like, oh, okay.
It changed my whole trajectory of being bored at the house one day. The ad came on, and 30 minutes later, I was like, you know what? I think I do want to go bird watching in the Netherlands.
Rappers, and this must be, I don't think this works for them because this is the way I look at shit, man. If you're an artist or a rapper or whatever kind of music you do, listen to this shit, don't fucking be intrusive with people, man. Don't force your shit on people. Motherfuckers will put a whole rap video as an ad. And it's like, yo, I'm not trying to see your shit skip ad. Like, nobody wants to see that, bro. Don't try to finesse your way into, like, being in front of Drake's video. With your ad rap video. Like, that's not, like, all you're going to do is piss somebody off.
Through Drake's video.
That too. Like, it's going to piss somebody off.
So would you say, like, going out and performing and doing, like, smaller events to start building a local crowd base is, like, helpful for people coming up?
Yeah. Going back to how, I know we keep leaving coming back.
Cool.
Yeah. Like, the next step was, like, because we couldn't sell music, so, like, I was putting out tapes for free with live mixtapes, and they were, like, them and that Piff at the time, and people would go to those websites and, like, download free mixtapes. So, performing at South by Southwest, I did an event for them. And I had been out for like a year, like running with Slim and shit, and I had like 1 or 2 mixtapes. But I performed there, and there were like some big rappers that performed before me. Mm-hmm. And I performed, and I had the biggest reaction, like as far as people that fucked with me. And people, they were like, oh, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, never heard of him. And they came up to me like, yo, we're live mixtapes. I'm like, yeah, I fucking know. Y'all, whatever. And they were like, well, look, anytime you drop, just because we like your shit, we see people really like you here in Houston, and I showed up and I got Slim Thug and all kind of motherfuckers with me. They're like, yo, anything you put out, we're putting at the top of our website. Yeah. I'm thinking like, cool. Come to find out, that was something that people was paying $25,000 for. Like labels would pay $25,000 to have their new artists put there or whatever. So I ended up getting that opportunity. I was just being, like working and having my shit and being in the right place at the right time. So. Yeah, like that's part of what you're saying, like doing shows and shit like that, and just showing up and doing your shit at that time. That helped, set up me with the live mixtapes platform. So, every time I drop, I'm on top of that shit. Now, how we were just talking about doing shit till it stick, and even how I work now. So once I figure out that, okay, I'm on top of y'all's site, every time I come out, fuck it, I'm dropping every month.
Yeah,
that's when I started I just started I would drop way more than I do now. People think I drop now. At that time, I was just like, fuck it, I'm going.
So does it make sense to even drop an album or just to do like a compilation of 4 or 5 songs and put that out?
At this time, you wanted to do things change with music. At this time, people's attention span was a lot longer, and the people I was competing with in my world, the other artists in my realm, it was all about a full 10, 15 song mixtape. Yeah, and making it cohesive and getting your sound out there and shit like that. So, but now, because the attention span is shrink, now it's 4-song EP, 5 songs, 10 songs at the most.
You gotta look at the way that people, where the money's at in it now is kind of changing the way that you're doing the music.
Right.
And because fuck, I mean, every once in a while, I don't know. I still there's certain bands that I buy everything that comes out. Certain artists and things like that. Might be gay, but I love. I've always been the Weeknd fan since back in the day, when he first came out and shit.
It's the Weeknd.
Yeah, I was he's fucking superstar.
But it's crazy seeing him as a superstar when 2012 I'm running down the street on the big wheel with my stereo back there doing fucking Wicked Games and shit like that. So it's it's dope to see that progression and shit like that and whatnot. But hell, even music. I mean, I grew up in Dallas, man, and when I was in the late '90s, especially a white kid in Dallas, Texas, you know what I'm saying? Kind of close to the hood, but not quite in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So my school was majority black, and we, basketball, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So you couldn't really listen to Nirvana growing up.
Shit. I grew up nothing but black kids listening to Nirvana.
It changed big time when skateboarding and shit like that started kind of that whole skate culture kind of influx with the rap culture. You started getting Lupe fiascos and shit like that and those backpack kids and shit like that.
It's the same thing we're seeing in motorcycle culture is the cultures are bleeding over into each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? And you're starting to see kids that guys that were traditionally riding dirt bikes that are really into dynas.
I'm about to say right now, the skate culture is bleeding into bikes. Tough.
Everything.
All the skater motocross guys are now on
I'm the only
a bunch of the skaters I used to follow just for skating and have Harleys, and I'm like, oh shit.
I'm the only dude that didn't grow up skateboarding apparently, and so I don't know who any of these guys are. So now I got to backtrack and figure out who they are.
Yeah. But no, that's like I said. So back in the day, it was kind of it was kind of just kind of hard, like I said, because I since I grew up playing basketball, I was kind of always accepted, and I didn't have to worry about getting bullied and shit like that. Right. But fuck, man, I saw the way they.
I was a skater kid that didn't play any sports and shit like that.
It's when I got out of high school, I was like, fuck yeah, I could be white. You know what I'm saying? So I started listening to fucking System of a Down and all these Tool's one of my favorite bands of all time. We had talked about the first podcast we ever did.
Yeah. That's crazy. We all grew up around the same era, but man, coming up, I listened to rock probably more than anything because MTV was my favorite channel. Yeah. And it was 90% rock at the time. So rap was there, but it was and I skated it and everything too. So, but at that time it was different skaters. You had the hip hop skaters, you had the Jamie Thomas hardcore rock zero skaters, and it was just the street shit would be technical kick flippy. Combo tricks, and then all the Jamie Thomas, like I said, hardcore dudes, they're hitting fucking 25 stair kink rails and shit.
That stuff was.
But that's weird because regionally, man, I was from South Texas, man. We listen to country music. You've heard my playlist. You'll catch a bunch of Spanish music on mine.
When I go to NorCal,
I wasn't exposed to any of that.
When I'm in NorCal, all my boys up there, they're listening to country music, and I'm like, dude, I don't listen to that shit here. I guess I could fuck with some old country, which I guess is a thing, but dude, I don't.
I feel like country and rap are probably the two most similar types of music, just because of the content.
The content
is really real to the artist. You know what I'm saying? We kind of talk about whatever our days are about, or whatever.
It's a little more literal.
Life. It's literal. Yeah, it's real literal music.
A lot of rock and stuff is way more metaphoric.
Real metaphor. Sometimes you don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Dude, there's a lot of the songs that we love where we really honestly don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
I still have no clue what Smells Like Teen Spirit means.
Yeah, what the fuck does that mean? Let's be honest.
Like I said, one of my favorite bands was Tool, and one of the things that they said in this magazine, Guitar Magazine, did a whole feature on him. I was like, fuck it, I'll pick it up. They said that Maynard's you know, his voice is just another instrument in the band. So sometimes the power of his like vocals is just literally like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying either, but it's just like, this shit's fucking making me rise up, you know, like some Rage Against the Machine, you know, kind of vibe, and drop you back down and pick you back up kind of shit.
Rock fell off. Like, nobody killed me for that, but it's like, if you got to think about it, what was the last bands that were as big as the bands that we listened to still from that era? Like, we listen to a lot of shit that's still from like the Seattle grunge era.
Dude, I listened to Deftones like, all the way down there yesterday on Spotify.
Where's the new Deftones? Where's the new Nirvana? Where's the new Foo Fighters? Where's the new like anything? Like, there's no new shit. Period.
I spent 2 hours listening to Alice in Chains the other day.
Like,
took me way back.
Yo, the Alice in Chains unplugged. Oh my god! Where, come on, man. Like, where is that at now?
Homeboy was halfway. Like, Lane Staley was sitting there deep into his addiction in that point in time. One of the most amazing vocal, performances ever, dude.
Killed it.
Yeah,
bro. Like,
dude, it's crazy, man. Like, fuck. You know what's tripping? So the day I got Spotify, I was like, like I said, I grew up listening to a lot of rap, but then there was a real weird thing that happened around 2001, right? So when the 9/11 happened, music up to that point got very party.
It was real glamorous,
and then it kind of went a little dark again a little bit after that, but.
One of my favorite albums dropped on 9/11. I actually got to school late because I was going out my way to steal a copy of Jay-Z's Blueprint album. Yeah. But I ended up paying for Jay-Z's album and I stole Fabulous. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pay for this whole Then I got to school and then like my first period was like a PE class. And nobody was playing, and they were all like in the coach's office looking at the TV. And I sat on the bleachers for a minute. I didn't give a shit. I was just sitting on the bleachers. I'm like, nobody noticed I was late. So I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, fuck, got
I was
away.
looking, I was seeing like, okay, and I didn't see till I got to my second period. I didn't even ask. I was like, what the fuck was y'all looking at? I was just so busy just being a dumbass.
Yeah, because for us here in the Central Time Zone, it all took place right around that between like 7:30 a.m. and 9 a.m.
It was like on the way to school type shit. Like, we didn't really. And then I'm gonna be frankly honest. I mean, I think I was 10th grade, maybe 9th grade, 10th grade.
I just graduated high school. 3 months
I just wasn't really well versed in New York, so I was like, I thought it was like a hotel was on fire. I was just like, oh, okay. What are we doing after school today? No, they were like, no, bro. Then actually Air Force One flew over our school and landed. And I was in New Orleans at the time, and we were like, oh no, this is like serious. Like, this is like.
I was in the Marine Corps already. Going through the end of so I joined before September 11th, April 2001. And then September 11th happened as I was coming through the end of my schooling to do my job in the Marine Corps.
What did you say when you signed up for the reload? This is going to go
smooth. Dude, I didn't know what the Marine was. I was cool with the uniform because I thought I could get me late, and it did. But, man, I was like months into being a Marine, and that shit dropped. So they went from not having any conflict, not having any war, very static,
to going in.
Motherfucker, guess
That's
what?
Happened to my big cousin. Y'all went the same time because he was like 2 years older than me, and he was a Marine, and he was like, yeah, bro, shit got real. I'm like,
and to run it back to the music, everything got super aggressive after that because you've got these kids DMX, and that's just it. Now you've got a war going on, man, and we're feeding, man, dude. I can give you right now the playlist to me invading a country, and it is dark shit. You know what I mean? And it's a spattering of gangster rap and rock. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they have some hardcore shit on the guard.
My dude,
Perfect Circle Pet, man, that was my shit in Iraq, dude. I was a fucking killer. I was the king of the world.
Perfect Circle was dope, man.
Shit.
So like at that time, but
I've only done that on Call of Duty.
Nah, it's a whole lot more comfortable on Call of Duty. Yeah, for real,
bro. Like nothing, no bullets flying back at you for sure.
I was better at it.
Yeah, but it was just a crazy time, man. Like music, was weird in that little era, and then man, like when Houston rap first came out, man, I was like, all my boys were listening to like screwed, chopped kind of music,
at that time,
I fucking hated it.
Yeah,
because I'm a loyal dude to things that I do, and I had always been into like No Limit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like every time a No Limit like album would drop, like they always had the fucking all the shit on it. And it would be like you get the Fiend album, and then you got like
see 3 like 15 more hours. It's like collecting cards. You're like, they got the Fiend album, they got this guy, and it was so fire. Like it would be dudes you never even heard of. You're like, who is Mac? All right, well shit, I'm gonna check him out. Soulja Slim, never heard of him. Fuck it, he with No Limit. Check him out. You know what I mean?
So those albums were like, all that was so dope, and then all of a sudden in Dallas, you just got these dudes just playing these songs that are just all, and I'm just like. That shit's gay, dude. Fuck off with that stuff. But then, you know, right around like 2002, 3, you know, because like, you know, like UGK had been out for a minute, so they had already had like some fucking amazing hits and shit like that. But
I think Pimp was in jail at that time, 2001.
He was?
Yeah, he got locked up. I remember Screw died in 2001. I think Pimp went to jail in 2001.
And so when then all of a sudden the Paul Walls and the
Switch House
and all those dudes came out, and then I liked all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I could hear what they were saying.
That's the difference. A lot of people like within Houston. Houston has had different eras of rap. Like you've had the street military era, like the real early shit, and then you have like 3-2, fucking Big Mike, the Convicts. He's like a real early shit, the original Ghetto Boys. You know what I mean? Then you skip ahead, you got like ESG and people like that, and Big Mello, and then the actual Screwed Up Click forming in like the mid 90s or early mid and then late 90s.
Wasn't that song "Wanna Be a Baller" from some dude?
Yeah, Lil Troy.
Lil Troy. That's right.
You got the Lil Troy era. You got and that was a hit. That was on BET, MTV all day.
Dude, my mom was jamming that shit.
Yeah, and then for like dudes our age, I wanted to say like a lot of people be trying to front like they was huge screwheads because that's the thing to do now, and I get it. Because I but that was actually ahead of our time a little bit. Like when it was happening, it was a little bit ahead of our time. Because like I'm cool with all these dudes now, and they're older. They're in their 40s. So usually when it's happening, the people that are the most into it are the same age as the dudes doing it, or a little younger. And that's what Swisher House was probably for dudes like my age and our age, because it's like Swisher House came after SUC. They were doing it in 98, 99, but when they took off, like it did that, and then it turned into that whole like big Houston still tip and run and all that shit like that. It was after SUC. It was a little different. It was a little, I want to say like DJ screwing them, like the way they screw tapes felt, it was a little slower. It had like a more authentic, muddy, slowed down, real gritty feel.
It was more coastal sounding.
Yeah.
You know, it sounded
a lot of
G-funk. It sounded like this place.
The beats they picked. When they did them, it was a lot of real obscure G-funk, West Coast, just sounded a certain way. Really slow. Dudes was really going off the top of their head, whatever. So, Swisher House, they picked hit record beats, popular beats. They was rapping faster. They sounded like you could put Slim Thug against anybody on the East Coast at that time. You could have put like Chameleon against any metaphor, punchline rapper. Paul Wall against anybody. Like even though it was slowed down, it was like on the level. Not saying SUC they can rap their ass off, but the way the Swish House came, it was just like it was more accessible. I want to say maybe like just a little easier on the ears.
It felt like, you know, after the East Coast West Coast beef took place, then it kind of ushered in the No Limit thing, which
the No Limit
was kind of like this more entrepreneurial type vibe of
Cash Money right behind
and then
No Limit,
Cash Money right behind it, and then you get a couple bangers from like, you know, the Blueprint came out, and a couple. I think Dre's 2001 was around.
That was 99.
99.
Yeah, that's the crazy. My 2001 that came out in 99.
So you had a couple. You know,
it was supposed to be called 2000, and then Death Row. They did it before him. You know, they were going through their shit, so he had to call it 2001.
So there was just like these little areas where people would. It's almost like the listenership or they would consume so much of one like clique more or less, or one group of people and their stuff that like I don't know if people just got tired
burnt out.
Burnt
look,
out.
G-Unit, bam, hottest shit ever, burnt out. Dipset,
what happened to Young Buck?
That's what I'm saying. Like, and these dudes,
he was a biker too.
That's how you know
what did happen.
Yeah, remember he bust his ass on camera.
Yeah.
But
that's biker knows who he is.
He was having a good time, man, but he lost it. But that shows you how hot motherfuckers were. Like 50 Cent came out, killing it. All his homies went platinum. Cameron comes up, killing it. Gold, platinum. Jim Jones, all these dudes successful from being his homie. But like these, like you say, these crews, they be having these runs and they end. So people do get a little burnt out on like movements, because even like, you know, the Houston movement started and then they came and went. And a lot, they have longevity to their fans. But then to the masses that may, like I have people. I'll just see a motherfucker on the internet and be like, Slim Thug still living? I'm like, I was over there the other day, just bought a Lamborghini truck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Doing fine.
He's doing pretty good. And he had like 15 other cars. But I'm like, he's still living.
But that's just it. Music and culture and everything that we consume as Americans is cyclical. You know what I mean? We've seen it in motorcycle, the big wheel bagger trend, the big back tire topper trend. You know, and the
You got to get way close to that. You echoing like a motherfucker.
the faster it blasts off, and the more that it's the showier it is, the faster, the louder, the brighter it is, the faster it burns out.
Yeah.
And that's why the trends that don't do that tend to be the longest running trends.
Right.
That's why Knucklehead's still cool. Believe it or not, that's why the T-Bar Dyna thing is still cool, because it's not a real flashy thing. It's kind of a slow, steady build into
They
something
making
else.
it. I see people make a lot of jokes about it. But
Well, yeah, the joke's on you.
Yeah,
But
but
I mean,
when things start looking clown-like,
It's
when you start
functional,
having a lot of like really flamboyance in something, then
It's what
it
we saw
doesn't-
today. It's
It doesn't.
burning,
To
yeah.
me, it's like. A big wheel bagger that's got all these, dude, down here, that shit is still fucking flying strong as fuck.
Yeah,
like we
it's-
saw
I took
today.
Jace. I took
Where'd
Jace
y'all
to
go?
Big Will
We went to
Bagger
the-
and Katie.
Dude, it was.
yeah, it's like I feel like in Houston, man, whatever you want to find, you're gonna find it.
Yeah,
you're
there's-
gonna find
there's
it.
everything.
Like
Oh,
even
yeah.
if it's horrible. No
Oh, yeah.
offense to those guys.
I took him
my
down there.
guy, like I like Slim likes those. I don't like. That's not my
Yeah,
thing.
because didn't Eric Contreras do a bike for Slim Thug?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did.
Yeah.
The Black Velvet.
Yeah, it's the big Road King. Is that what it
Yeah.
It
is?
was a street glide, but it was a
There's
big old
street-
black
dude,
velvet cover and
there's
street
a
glide.
velvet
See-
one, and there's a big Road King that he did.
That was a newer one. Y'all were up at Lone Star
Powerhouse
Rally.
did, yeah. Powerhouse did. Is that who it is? Powerhouse
Yes,
did the big,
Eric,
they did
yeah.
the Road King. I don't know who did the velvet one.
The velvet one's the only one I've ever seen. Y'all were hanging out with a couple of my guys up at Lone Star. Remember that year at Lone Star?
Yeah.
I never saw the bike. Yeah.
See, I like the Oakland and SoCal
Me too.
brothers.
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah,
See, I don't know
yeah,
how to
I know.
fucking say it.
I know what you know, but no, I know.
Brother-
I like them.
I
Paint
like-
jobs be a little much for me
Yeah, the
sometimes.
paint- all the
It's either hit
NASCAR
or miss.
shit, yeah.
It's like either hit or miss.
It's kind of like donk paint jobs when they were doing Skittles and
especially
Starburst.
you live in Dallas, so you know, because Dallas got
Yeah.
like Dallas and Houston car scenes are completely different.
different.
Like, yeah, y'all do a lot more box Chevy, big wheel type stuff, like on the hood end.
Dude,
Typically, like in the hood, we got slabs out here with the, it'll be like mostly Cadillacs. And pop trunk 84s,
Yeah.
Houston's
Evoques.
car scene is so unique to
Like
its
you
own
know it, like
shit,
when you
yeah.
see it, you
Yeah.
know it. Like even if you don't like it, you be like, that's that H-Town shit. Dallas, I remember
That's another
when I was
place.
young, they were
H-Town. Remember that fucking R&B band? I probably had at least
Oh,
one
yeah,
kid to
H-Town.
that shit.
H-Town, yeah.
I'm right. Look, you'll still see them perform here. You'll
For
be
real?
at a club and they'll be hosting and you just hear
Goddamn.
them start singing.
Yeah.
I remember Above the Rim, dude. They had that fucking.
What?
Above
The
the
chocolate
rim.
screwed version of some H-Town
got- they have
songs?
one of those?
Oh man, OG Ryan C used to do the R&B mixes, bro. He got so much
Yeah.
ass off them tapes when I was like 17, 18.
Shit, I'm gonna see if my wife will let me get into
Man,
that.
yeah.
Hey,
Set the mood, man.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. See,
But yeah, man.
Don't
like,
drag me into what you
Yeah,
got going on. I don't want to hear nothing about it.
He did the big. They did like a big black, big wheel bagger joint for him. But Slim's fucking 8 feet tall, so
Yeah.
a big wheel bagger to him is like riding a street glide.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
We talked about that in
Yeah.
the first
Yeah, like,
podcast I ever
was
did
saying,
with you.
Like I've seen him sit on like he's gotten on my bike. Like one time when he got on my street glide, and it just looked like
Yeah, it's
it looks
way
like.
yeah, it's way closer.
It's like when you're a 6'5" dude gets on a Sportster, it just looks strange.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
he can't do that. And he had a street glide. He had a cool one, but he was just like, too small.
You rolled
for
a
him.
cool street glide for a minute when I
Yeah.
first met you, yeah. The
What?
black one was cool.
So how did you kind of evolve into liking the bikes?
I mean, my dad rode, so I was like,
Right.
it was like my dad and my uncles would drag my ass. I'd be on the back of my dad's bike every weekend, even if I didn't want to be, when I was like, 10, 11 years
Yeah.
old. So it was just something that you end up wanting to do the shit.
So did you ever get like the sport bike craze at all, or
Nah, I never liked those bikes. My dad maybe not like
Oh, for
how
real?
he just be like, fuck those bikes.
So
It's
for
not a
me,
Harley,
it was
not a real
opposite.
bike.
I had like it was like $7,000 or $8,000 worth of street racing tickets from
Yeah.
doing the import car shit, and so I finally sold it. And my mom gave me like a get out of jail free card and paid off all my tickets.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I get a sport bike, they won't be able to catch me. I could still go street race.
Scared of those shits, man.
I did it for a minute back in the day though.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I
Yeah.
respect the fuck out of him, and I'm scared of him. Like I had a rap homie who never rode bikes before, and I'm watching him get into it. I almost want to just send him a message and be like, hey man, just
You got to have a lot of self control in those
yeah,
things.
like
And
just don't be out here trying to impress people. Whenever
Yeah.
I see him moving real fast, like getting into it, I'm like, hey man, I know you're a rapper. You know what I mean? Like fools be feeling pressured to be like
Yeah,
cool and
super
shit out
cool.
here and look like you know what you're doing, man. This is a bike and you only be riding like a couple months. Please be careful. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
them shits is no joke, dog. Especially if you just I don't know. Like I feel like if you didn't grow up around them or like just know, like my dad used to be burying homies like every couple months. You know what I mean? Like I remember that. It was just like
Well, sport bikes got like they used to be pretty big. You know what I mean?
They
in
were.
the early 2000s, and they continually got smaller and lighter. And it got to a point where you were literally like they were always fast, but then it got to a point where it was like, God damn.
You can't see them, and then like they're so small. Like they make bikes so small now. And I'm like, why do you? Is that a bike? Is that considered a motorcycle still? Is that like a super scooter?
Oh, just wait. The electric ones are even smaller and even quieter, and
Yeah,
even
like,
faster.
Why? But like, why do you? They need to
Because
just
you get
make a
zero
noise.
torque from-
No, I'm not
You get
mad at it
600
being
foot-pounds of
electric.
torque from zero.
I'm not mad at it being
Stop.
electric. They need to make some sort of noise, even if it's a fake one.
What noise?
Like you got to do
A whistle?
something. Like they're gonna die. Like I'm sorry, I know it
Yeah.
sounds
Motherfucking ice
crazy. Like, you know,
like what
somebody-
noise are they gonna make?
Man, I was riding my homie Tesla the other day, and that just was strange.
For real?
Like, it was my first time really being in one, and I was just like, and we're zooming, and it's just like, yeah, it's like, oh, it don't even feel right. You don't feel nothing, like, you don't feel the energy of anything under a hood,
Fucking
vibration,
spaceship,
nothing.
dog.
Like, it's just
Out of
like,
here.
I don't know if I'd.
It's
I know that it's the
instantaneous.
future.
It's like,
I know it's the future, all this electric stuff, but man, it kind of scares me because I just don't. It's kind of like one of those things that I hope just it evolves, but when it becomes the standard, I'm too old to give a fuck, and I'm
I think we will.
You want to know what made me a fan of electric motorcycles? The 1976 shovel head that I have to kickstart every goddamn time I go
You're just
somewhere.
getting fucking
Sitting in that
lazy,
room
yeah.
right there. The carburetor that I gotta adjust and play with.
Well, when you got to do a
Send
fucking
that
update on your
and
shit, and you ain't got Wi-Fi, then what you gonna do, buddy?
Takes 20 minutes and I can do it in the
So we got PC in our helmets. We got
I live in
Iron Man.
Houston. I live in Houston, Texas. Yep.
Yeah. Until like someone proves me wrong that like having an electric Harley, maybe I know the Teslas have been out for a while, but
We'll get you laid.
no, it's an electronic piece, man. Like, is that battery going to be any good in 2 years? You're going to have to buy another battery in a couple years for it to still work the same way.
Man,
You
it's
think
gonna
about
be
your
like an
phones and
iPhone.
shit.
Dude, you're gonna have to update it, and then they're gonna short dick that thing so they can sell
I see
you the next
Teslas
thing.
in the shop a lot, so I mean,
that's the
like,
world.
They always getting upgrades and have to do firmware upgrades and all kind of things. I mean, that is, I really do believe, like, by the time we're too old to really give a fuck about it, and our kids or grandkids are driving us everywhere, that's how shit's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, I know that eventually it's going to have to be that way, but I just, man, like combustion engines, man, like that's just, I still want to, I don't know, man, like
If
it's,
shit hits the fan, that's what you're gonna need.
Yeah.
Like whenever like the fucking Walking Dead shit happens or whatever, I mean, the last shit on the streets is gonna be what's on the streets right now.
yeah.
So
It's gonna be a 1976
it's
shovel
gonna-
head
like, for real.
that I'll still be
that Cadillac
cussing
I
at.
just got
Yeah.
might be the last thing rolling. And
You're gonna be fucking
There'll be
barrel-
zombies coming over the hill, and I'll be kickstarting the show. You know what I mean?
Come on, baby.
Cussing it every
For
goddamn
real.
time. Yeah.
still be rolling though, and it'll easily be fixed too. Like you'll be able to pull up at any low
He'll pull
deserted
up.
gas station
Yeah.
and get some shit fixed, bro.
It's gonna be a 650 chopper for sure. Yeah.
650. No, that's I don't know, man. Like that's kind of, I know that that's where a lot of people are trying to go, and then everybody's trying to be just kind of conscious of trying to be environmentally woke, I guess is the word.
I don't even
But-
think
They
it's
say
that.
they say the cost of it, like the what they call it, the carbon footprint of making the cars and all that shit run off electricity is still not much better than what's
Yeah.
already going
And
on.
I don't even think it's that. I think it's the power that an electric engine offers you torque-wise for the. I mean, it's a power to weight ratio
Yeah.
thing with those
Yeah.
bikes. You know what I mean? You can. You look at some of the electric cars that have come out, dude. They've got cars that are blowing track records.
Yeah.
I mean,
New
not
Porsche's
little, not a little, like by
Yeah.
20, 15,
Yeah.
30%.
That
Yeah.
Porsche
You know,
is
these are
crazy. Like
these
you
are
know,
records that have been set in F1 and
Yeah.
things like that for years and years and years, and these electric cars are smoking them.
Yeah.
And it's only a matter of
Well, it's
time
like-
before a
it's-
motorcycle catches up to that.
It's instant power. It's instant torque,
It's
100%.
It's like you
immediate.
gonna fall off a bike for it. Like that, the
Yeah.
torque that comes with, like, come on, bro. Like you have to like be locked in. to,
Yeah.
Well,
like,
and I think that we're
hold
gonna
on.
see that. I think that eventually you're gonna see like those Tron style
Yeah, like you have
full
to be in
fairing.
it. Yeah,
you're
you
gonna
have
have
to
to.
be.
You
It's the
have
only
to. There's
way
no
to
way
So
around.
No,
you
for
know
real.
about the long way up and down series, right?
No.
The long way around. So like Ewan McGregor.
Oh yeah, I remember
So
that. Yeah.
they
went
did
to
the,
Africa once from
yeah,
England and
all that
China
shit around the
or
world. So
something
they
like
did
that, yeah.
one called Long Way Up, and they started in like Argentina.
Yes.
So and they did the Pan American Highway, which goes all the way up to Alaska.
Yeah, which I think is like a dirt road when you're in Argentina.
It's a dirt road in
Yeah.
a lot of places, but they actually did that on live wires.
Really?
Yeah, but okay. So,
So
I
they-
heard this story.
They trying,
Yes,
they trying to sell us on these
I
live
heard
wires.
this story. Yeah. But who did it on a live wire and how much money did it cost.
Oh, I mean,
if you did it on a live wire,
was on Star Wars. He's got bread, dude.
And that's the thing right here, dude. I can get, if you bring me a 2015 Dyna Lowrider, I will get the motherfucker on the moon for you if you give me enough money. Period. End of story. I can make it do anything you want for enough money. If Jeff Bezos wants me to build him a bike, I will make that bike do whatever he fucking wants. But that's just it. The average man who goes out and spends $40,000 on a live wire, you're going 80 miles and then you're stopping. You're gonna wonder how the shit you're getting home because there's no plug-in to get your shit back on the road. That's just the way it is.
That's why, like, even with
but in 5 years,
like, man, how the fuck do you take these trips and shit?
Well, but in 5 years,
like, I'd be like, oh, you gotta look at the map and they'll tell you got to take this route because you have to stop at this station and it takes this long to do.
I don't think
on the West Coast though, like they have supercharging stations like everywhere, like on the way to certain places.
And when Argentina catches up to that, but the Pan American Highway that they rode isn't even a fucking road in most of those countries.
Well, I think that so you know what happened, right? So they were trying to ride KTM on that original thing, and then KTM backed out, and then BMW became the #1 adventure bike on the market.
Yeah, the Africa Twin.
Yeah, no, the Africa Twin is Honda.
Honda, sorry. What
BMW
was
is a GS.
GS, yes.
Yeah. So, you know, Harley's like, fuck that. I want to get on that fucking bandwagon. So.
Well, they ain't getting on shit now because didn't they cancel that in the Bronx? Or are they still coming out with the Pan American?
No, the Pan American's coming out. Yeah.
Is it?
They got too much. I think they got too much invested in that. But
I think that'd be the saving grace of Harley Davidson right there.
Yeah.
I think they need it.
Sometimes I feel like all these car companies, motorcycles, all this shit, they're trying to play catch up to where we thought we were going to be right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And not really just accepting the fact that we probably ain't there yet. So just make dope shit. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? With what we have.
Words of wisdom from Les.
It really,
When you're a Harley executive, I hope that you take that.
You know, like, why would you want, like,
I don't get the whole Dyna shit. Like, even that, like, how would you have something that's successful in that?
Well, it was successful.
No, you're gonna get a ton of hate.
Hey, I'll take it. I'm just saying, like, it's the shit, man. Like, why would you change the shit? Like, it just is what I get. Like,
well, it had a 20-year run.
Yeah.
21. Yeah. They came out in '91.
They didn't really get appreciated. Seemed like till later in the run.
Yeah, it was always kind of like the next step up from the Sportster for a long time. You know what I mean?
There were certain pockets of guys who really enjoyed the Dyna, and
it was a good balance.
It's called a club style motorcycle for a reason.
Yeah. No, I mean it was dope, but it's also, dude, there's so many of them on the market that, you know, I mean, here's the deal, like this shit is so beat with like a whatever. It's just a lot. We've been saying this a lot, but the Softail is a fucking superior bike to the Dyna, but it just got called a Softail. They should have, marketing.
Yeah, just keep the name. That's like just doing music and
the new
merch
Dyna.
and shit like that. Like, it's like, man, just call it. Just shut up. Just don't call it that. Fuck, it's not a lowrider. They call it a fucking Dyna, bro. Like let's keep it. I don't know everybody, but a lot of companies. I see it with music dudes too. Like, change is like they'll hate on themselves. You know what I mean? Like, you'll have something that's like fire already, a good thing going, and sometimes like you'll be so wanting to go on to the next thing or something else that you may want to do, not knowing that, hey man, this is what people fuck with you for.
But isn't that a weird place to be where you want to feel like a growth as an artist? Because I deal with that with paint.
It happens like that with me, but it's like you just got to know what's for them and what's for you.
Okay, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, you got to know, like they always say, don't forget what got you here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you still have to remember, like, you have to step outside yourself sometimes and be like, well, why do you listen to such and such? And then why did you kind of stop listening to such and such? Okay, you went to him for a certain thing, and then that certain thing kind of, like, it changed. And they may not have been good at that, as good as that thing that they tried to change it into, than they were as what they started doing when it was original to them.
Well, I mean...
So it's like I said, like, I might make a project that I have fan bases within my fan base. Like, I have people who want a certain type of record from me that know me from when they discovered me with Slim Thug, and I could only do what was in Slim Thug's world because I was trying to be on every song. So it's like, fuck it, I gotta adapt to this. Yeah. And there's dudes who love me for that hate me for the shit that the majority of people love me for. It's like, why you doing all this jazzy, smooth shit? I was like, well, I mean, that's kind of my thing. You know what I mean? That's what a majority of motherfuckers like me for. Like, you know what I mean? And then, but there's times that, like, I might want to do some harder shit, or I might want to do some experimental shit. But I just know, like, how to present it. Yeah. And how to be like, okay, what? This is the one. I know y'all want this Steak and Shrimp Volume fucking 15. Yeah. The shit that y'all love.
But this little side project I'm doing, this a little, you know, like experimental joint. Check it out if you like it, cool. If you don't, but this is still coming. So like, you know, if you get upset about it,
shit coming
you know,
out,
there's other shit's coming. Like, you know, but,
no, I get that, but
and then if they know you good at it, they that's another thing. They know you consistent. Like, oh no, he just trying some shit. But
yeah, I mean, everybody has to try shit though. That's how you get new trends and you progress and you find out. You know, more like it's like every other type of career path. Like one thing opens up multiple doors, and you go through, and you see new opportunities to kind of do things differently. But you also got to navigate the waters of the business side of it too, right? Which has changed so much compared to what I think of the '90s were like. You know, I was telling him on your way up, I was like, yeah, I know Richie Rich pretty well, who, you know, is from Oakland Bay Area.
Rich is the motorcycle man. That's actually a good friend of mine's friend, Freddie Gibbs. He always tells me he wants to hook me up with Richie Rich. You know, I love Richie, he's a legend. So but I just wanted to say that. Yeah, nah,
he's like East Bay Dragon dude. He's solid. You know, because I was gonna paint a bike for him a long time ago, and when I was working up there in NorCal, like you know, he just came around the shop that I was at all the time, and it's kind of weird when you meet people that you know, kind of are famous. I mean, he's famous, especially famous in this world, but like it wasn't like Too Short, which was, you know what I mean?
He big in the shit too.
He's a dragon too. I think East Bay Dragon. I think.
I think he is.
Yeah. So I mean, dude, that Harley shit up there is thick, dude.
Oh, in Oakland,
man, you know the Bay Area. Yeah.
It's. I mean, they have everything up there.
Man, Bay and LA, they're close, man. They got their bikes.
Their bikes are really close, and very fast.
They had very fast bikes. It's like, yo, like, does motor have to be that big? Like, whoa.
I'm gonna tell a club story, and I never tell club stories on the podcast.
Go ahead.
I was at a clubhouse down here in Houston, and I just gotten that low rider ass 110 engine, brand new bike.
Yeah.
And I was at one of the clubhouses down here in Houston, and I told one of the guys, I was like, hey man, they drag race at this clubhouse. I was like, hey man, I was like, you got a guy that's like medium fast out here right now that wants to run against my bike just so I can see what it looks like. You know what I mean? Like, cause I want to see, because that 110 engines, that was the first like stock 110 on the low rider. Like that was a big deal. And he was like, yeah, man, we got a guy. So I get out there, I line up right next to this clubhouse. I know you know the clubhouse. Yeah. So I line up this clubhouse, man, and this dude, we drag, and this dude, it's a quarter-mile run, and this dude drags me like I'm standing still. I might as well have been on a big wheel tricycle.
Fuck.
And so we get to the end of it, man, and we roll back around, and I fucking got the shit handed out of me, and so of course they're all fucking with me and shit like that. But we get off the bikes, man, and I was like, man, you're quick as shit, man. I was like, but what was I running against? This kid had a 131 blueprinted engine. And I was talking to the dude, and I was like, man, that is a quick bike. And he was like, dude, I got 25 grand in the engine.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was like, no shit. I was like, man, I paid 14 grand for the whole bike. You know what I mean? Like, But dude, this guy had 20 grand in it. But that was medium fast for those guys. And the club sets that, like what y'all are talking about in the Bay Area and shit, like they don't fuck around. Like that's what they do is motorcycle shit all day, every day. That's what they do.
Yeah, and the other thing,
Big Manny out there,
and that was medium fast. Yeah.
So the other thing about those bikes
next
too,
time, just give me a real quick prospect.
A lot of those cats, because those, you know, fucking around with some of the bike clubs in Dallas. Those cats were the ones that got me into riding distance, because there's a club up in Dallas. I think they're still open. They had one here too, 10 Toes Down.
Yeah.
And so I got real close with one of those homies. Yeah, and I rode to Florida with those guys, and that was kind of like some of my first cross country riding with them. Yeah. And then you got clubs like Rare Breed and Second to None that have these chapters everywhere, and these dudes are fucking on the highway all the time, like hitting these spots.
Like Big Punchy, he's a big famous lowrider dude. Like
Let me get one too. Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Big Punchy just from watching lowrider DVDs from my homeboy Currency. He's a rapper and he's big into lowriders and shit. And then I found he was like, yo, Big Punchy be on them bikes too. I didn't even know Big Punchy was like Rare Breed VP and riding this bike from fucking Compton to Atlanta like it was nothing. Like you know what I mean, going to Florida. And I'm like, yo, these dudes is putting in
it's
miles.
Crazy. So it was I think it was the Kings of Cali. There's a club out there with one of the dudes. It's like my riding. This dude rides so much. He's one of my heroes as far as like putting down miles. But he was he rode to Texas and was doing that ride with me and the 10 Toes Down guys to Panama Beach, I think is where we were headed to. and he was showing me videos because the night or two before they had their anniversary party.
Yeah.
They had fucking Mystical playing there.
Yeah. They all, I think that's like their theme song.
Yeah.
Like the Rare Breed, like the Mystical was like one of their theme songs and shit like that. I seen that Rick Ross at the last Rare Breed weekend.
Yeah, it's crazy shit, man.
And like in LA, that shit's huge. Like that's like a big deal. Like they book rappers and all kind of stuff. Like it looked like a scene out of Biker Boys or some shit out there.
Dude, yeah. Biker Boys was kind of like my Fast and Furious, man. Like Fast and Furious did the same thing for me.
Shit. Yeah.
I watched it the other day. It's not that bad. Like, it's not.
It was cool. Like you see, like a couple of the clubs that you like are familiar with in there and stuff like that. Yeah. You see, like they had some, but
it dates itself a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially with the bikes and some of the fashion.
Lawrence Fishburne is kind of cringeworthy in there a little bit, but I mean it's cool. You see Kid Rock with the West Coast with the West Coast chopper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I still love those bikes. I know people gonna give me hell for those, but I had the DVDs, man. Jesse James bikes and the shit. I just
fuck everybody. Them, I like them. I don't want to meet them because I don't want to not like them anymore.
But then I have homies who's done business, like Sick painted one of his cars. And like the few people I know that've crossed paths with him, they're like, yo, he's cool as shit.
I crossed paths with him occasionally. He's not been crazy, but then again, it's hey man,
it's just like he's mad regular, so don't expect too much. He's just like a regular dude that works. Like he's like.
All my homies that's work for them said like, dude, he's a dick. So I'm like,
I heard it.
Yeah, but you're working for him.
Yeah, I heard the workplace.
I couldn't say because my brother would say I'm an asshole.
I was gonna say your brother thinks you're a dick because he works for you.
Yeah, that dude that work with me. Like nigga can be an asshole in the studio. It's like that, just like doing it till it's right.
But your paycheck showed up. Yeah.
Right.
So. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'd love to meet him, but I don't know if I'd want to because right now, like I attest Monster Garage and the Motorcycle Mania as what helped usher me from. So I was telling you, I think I was in architecture when I was getting out of high school, and Fast and Furious came out and made me realize that I wanted to tinker with cars. I was trying not to be in the paint and body business like the rest of my family, and so I was like, man, like sitting in this cubicle all day, fucking doing CAD designs, like I feel miserable, and I just want to physically make something.
Yeah,
I want that feeling. You know what I'm saying? And so, the car thing happened. So I was like, you know what? If I go back and work for my dad at the car shop, I can start fucking with cars again and kind of polish some of these skills and use that to get into the inner circle of some of these car things. And that's what I did. Fucking that shop. I was telling you about that. I ended up going to Cali with them. I was like, yeah, man, I know how to paint. Tell anybody in any car bike industry, you become in the middle of the circle.
Yeah.
Paint
is a motherfucker. That's why Sick told me, he's like, when he's one of the few dudes that does what he does with all the pinstriping and shit like that, he was like, there's not a lot of people that still do that whole lowrider style of like painting and shit. I remember Mr. Cartoon was saying like, yo, that whole airbrushing cars thing is like, it's not a lot of kids coming up airbrushing cars anymore. It's like it's gonna be a thing that kind of.
There's not any of them.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. The youngest guy I know is Sick.
Fucking rapping cars, fucking print on raps.
We were talking about that today. Yeah,
it's getting to the point where there's gonna be prints on raps. Like
there's a lot of people doing it. It's like this. Like I say a lot of people. There's never been hundreds of people that's ever been airbrush guys, but there are hundreds and hundreds of them in all different fields of it, right? But just like everything, trends kind of come and go, even with car paint jobs and things like that. So murals haven't been that popular in the car world. It's not popular in bikes at all right now.
Yeah. No, if I had all the money in the world for a lowrider right now, like
you want to clean.
I would. Yeah, I just want
stripes.
straight clean. It wouldn't be like I wouldn't have like a girl with a snake in a fucking. You know what I mean? The sword.
Maybe you got the year on the dash cool somewhere.
Yeah, like the door jams or something.
Yeah.
So there's not really a market for it right now because it's kind of dated. So I was telling you I'm painting that bike for this cat out of London, and he was showing me some of the stuff. And he said, like, dude, we're about 10 to 12 years behind you guys, style-wise. So they're still, like, airbrushing theme bikes out like we were back in, like, 06 and shit. You know
so they still got dudes over there with, like, an Aztec god on their trunk, like, holding up the
cheers. From over there, they do be looking a little bit.
I'm sure I don't know if the lowrider culture is real huge in Europe. I know it's big in Japan.
You want to know about lowrider culture in Japan? My man right here.
Did you just I know you went out there recently, like a year or so ago?
Yeah, I've been the last 2 years. I was supposed to be there this summer. Like every summer in the last few years, I've been there.
Those pictures that he was showing me and
Shot
like the stuff that I saw.
Lowriders, all kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
They got a dope ass bike scene out there. They built some crazy.
Oh no,
shit.
they had I think I sent you a video. A dude
Yeah.
pulled up when we were shooting the video, pulled up on diners and all kind of shit. They looked like they were fucking straight out of fucking SoCal. You know what I mean? Then,
Dude, they straight up, yeah.
This is the funny part. So in Japan, there's a group of people mimicking pretty much every style of what we do in America. So there's dudes mimicking the black Southern California or Oakland style bikes with all the NASCAR shit. But the thing is, they do it to a T.
Yeah.
They got dudes that look like straight Vato essays, tatted up,
The
fucking
Chicano
ape
cuts,
hangers, the straight Chicano style Harleys,
Yeah.
whatever. Then you see dudes pull up with Dickies and diners and like it's like dog, y'all just do everything. Like then they'll pull up in the lowriders looking like however.
That's wild, man.
And they'll be tatted up, tattoos. And I had to ask the dude I was with because there were dudes that came to my show. And they had tattoos on their face and all that shit. So I grew up. I'm like, it's fucking Yakuza or some shit like that. So I asked dude, I asked the dude that booked me because dude that booked me, he's like a street dude out there. Like everybody knows him, respect him. I'm like, yo, like he's some gangsters or something. He's like, oh no, and he said it like so like, oh no, it was almost like they was like some bitches. Like he's like, oh no, they just want to be like you. Nah. He was like, nah, not at all. He was like, no. I was like, oh shit. I was like, because the dudes, the way they presented themselves, it came in like they shook their hands super hard and
they probably studied.
He was like, no, they just believe it. They want to be American. They're putting on. He was like, Yakuza ain't been here since the '80s.
For real. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the culture's so like because I used to do a lot of work with Torres Empire, and he used to go over there, and he had a lot of those companies that were trying to bring the LA Super Show there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they ever actually pulled it off or not.
I said that would be crazy out there.
But yeah, I mean, dude, just like whenever they were building import cars, or the import cars, which I guess are domestic cars for them.
Right.
The shit they were doing with like the Skylines and the Supras and all the shit out there back whenever I was hardcore into that shit was like how'd you take that $100,000 car and then add all this fucking huge single turbo, this and this, and then you stitch welded the whole fucking chassis together.
They're wizards out there.
It's crazy.
They're wizards. And you know what's real crazy though? Like about Japan, especially like I was talking about the Fast and Furious stuff and all that. Bro, I'd be like after we would get done with shows and stuff, I always stay a week. You know what I mean, or a little longer. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were staying in we had like a little extended stay, everything that we were staying in Yokohama. And like I would get up in the morning, go downstairs, go take a walk. Mm-hmm. Bro, it'd be fucking R34 GTR just sitting in an apartment lot full of clothes in the back seat. You know what I mean? It's just like, yo.
Just like some bitch's car?
Yeah, just like it's like a chick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just shit all in the back seat, like kids, shit, like stuff like, bro, like this is the Grail. Like, in Bayside Blue, Paul Walker edition, like V-Spec, whatever, like just sitting there. Like, I'm like,
that's crazy.
Man, bro. It's like RX-7s looking like Miatas and shit. Like, it's like just fucked up. You know what I mean? But, I mean,
so I heard
you'll also see some shit though. Like you would think, like we went to Daikoku. Well, I keep forgetting. I'm going to blame right now. Daikoku, I believe, the area where everybody meets before they race.
Yeah, I don't know.
On the Wangan Strip, like the video game that they used to play Tokyo Extreme Racer, and you would.
What's
race.
the one where it was a video game. I was just thinking about that while you're talking. The one where you're on the highway and you come up and there's people and then you race them. Like you're all riding on the highways. It's like. And then you could pick your car, but you come up.
I think that's Tokyo Extreme Racing.
It might be.
Yeah, like when you flash your lights at the car. Yeah. Racing, that's what it is.
Okay.
And they're racing the Wangan. I'm probably butchering it. I'm from the South, but anyways, like they race on this loop pretty much, and we were in the area where they meet, and bro, it's just like you go out there at midnight. G, it's like you really fell into everything that we grew up on. It's like you see like the grill
culture
cars
and shit,
done right, like exactly how you expect them to be done, but just tons of them, and they keep coming. And it's like, yo,
dude, every time I'll be in the car with my wife one day, and we'll be driving around, and I'll see like an R32, and I'm like, that's my dream car right there. Yeah. Because I like R32s. I love R34.
My guy always says that he says R33s are the one. Actually, not R32s. He says that, and I kind of get it because they got to look. He's like everybody sleeps on them, but yeah, I think R32s.
I love them, man, because that was the first one I ever drove and worked on, when I was into that shit back in the day.
Like it even more.
And so like to me, it's like my first like time I was, you know, driving one, and I remember I used to tell the story a lot when it was relevant, but I was driving it, and the guy at the shop I was working at, he was in the passenger. He said, "Hey man, just drive. We'll go there." I was like, "I'm about to drive a right-hand drive car, dude." Yeah. So the first thing we did was I backed it up, and then I was backing it up on both hands on the steering wheel, and then I immediately took my right arm and slung it to the right to grab the shifter, and I hit the door.
Now, the first time driving one of those right-hand drive cars, especially stick, it's like it feels like it's gonna be intimidating, but once you're doing it, it's like, oh.
Feels normal after that,
shit. Yeah, like, cause I be in my car when it was a stick, the Nissan, and I'd be doing this, like, you know, like you got too much shit going on. You use your left hand all the time, so it's like
that's one of the cars. I think that, you know, at some point there's enough of those R32s in America where I'd be cool with one. I'd love an R34.
I could bring you somewhere if you want one.
No, I mean I ain't got the money right now. I got bike money right now. I ain't got car money.
Yeah, my boy, he got a spot called Shinku Classics down there. We did a release party with them in a car show, but man, they have a real cool selection. He has like R34s on deck.
Damn.
Just waiting in a lot out there for
this kid's crazy.
Yeah.
His
they move them though. Like it trips me out. Like if you follow them, like cars going in and out every day.
So I don't even know what those things go. I know the R34s bring good money, but I want to say I've seen the R32s go for around 20 grand.
They're not. Yeah, they're not crazy.
That's the thing. Like, they're not crazy. He finances them, so you got to think.
Oh shit, he can finance.
Yeah, that's why I was like, yo, I was so sick because I was like, bro, imagine if we were fucking 18 years old at the time that we were into this shit, and you could go finance a fucking R32. I'm sure it would have cost more at that time, but still, just
20 grand then
from
was
Japan
even more.
For like 20. I'm like, man, y'all kids are lucky as shit.
Get an S15.
There's a lot of them. If you look, it's like little young kids going to get their first car. They're leaving out of there with fucking right-hand drive RX-7s, like FDs and all kind. I'm like, yo, like
that's crazy.
Y'all talk about all this, and I have no clue what the hell y'all are talking about. All I know is when I was stationed in Okinawa, I had a right-hand drive Skyline, and it was just a daily driver. It wasn't nothing spectacular. It was just a GTR. It was nothing.
Yo, I was in Yokohama. I would walk downstairs, and there was a fucking R34, like the blue R34 from the Buster, full of shit in the back seat, like a girl's car.
Yeah,
like you know, it was like your girlfriend had the car and just like
Taxi was like a what is it, a 240 or whatever?
Yeah, it's like nice shit.
No, they have like they have Skylines that are 4 doors and shit like that.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like the whole thing when you're living over there, totally different experience.
They're serious about them. I mean, about them getting our cars over.
Yeah, that's
about the dude that booked me right now. He's actually about to get sick to paint a Monte Carlo for him out here, and then they're gonna ship it back.
Wow.
Tell me when your man needs a Dyna.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, so the funny thing about like there and licensing for bikes, you ever looked into that?
Nah, I didn't.
So you can't just buy a full Dyna. You have to start at like a 1,000 or 100 cc
for your motorcycle license. Yes.
Yeah,
because I got a motorcycle license in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah, and
you have to start and like earn your way. That's why they have
you gotta start on a 50. You go from that to
how long?
So I had Oliver from the Cut Rate on one of the first original podcasts, and it blew my mind because he's huge into imports too. Yeah. And so he was like, late 90s, he just went to Japan just to see this shit. And he's like, since then has a lot of like, like he does a lot of business still with Japan. And he was like, yeah, man, you go out there and it's like it's like 1,000 or whatever they're equivalent to, like a grand to get a license. Yeah. You have to rock this thing for a certain amount of time.
It's a couple
then it's
months,
another grand or some shit to get this other license and work your way up to the full leader bikes. Or for 1,000 cc and up bikes, you know what I'm saying?
You see too many like there was a lot of
because the license costs $5,000.
Even when I went up to the dealership, they had a whole bunch of Harleys sold, but they were just sold. They were just sitting there. I didn't ask questions. I was just like wondering why all these bikes are sitting here. So
probably because they don't have the license. Yeah, that's exactly why.
It's like maybe they just didn't have that license yet, or they're about to get it, or you know what I mean.
What's the thing you always see on like that little arrow that you always see on all the import card here, those guys? That's the beginner license thing in Japan. So like when you live in Japan, you see that little arrow. That's somebody who's on like their first year license.
That's crazy. So
that's what that little symbol.
Go out there and just start riding.
It's like a little green and yellow arrow. That's what that is. It means that you're getting your driver's license. So you would see that on people's cars, like they had to have that on there for the first year that they were driving. Dude. And bikes is even worse.
I want to get super nerdy. I just finished a video game called Ghost of Tsushima.
Everybody been telling me about this shit. Is it like
it's if you like those kind of games, then I'm into that shit. So but every time I play a game, you know, mind you, I got 44 hours into this game, right?
Where did you find 44 hours of your
Dude,
life?
it's the only time.
All right.
Playing video games. Seriously, playing.
Me and him play.
Yeah, like I try like games like that. I like.
It's been a month though. I spent
like
yeah. But see, after I finish one of those games, like they're so fucking intuitive now to where like when I get done, I start Googling and researching shit about this stuff. So the whole game is about like the Mongol invasion of like this little island that's kind of in between Japan and the mainland China, right? Okay. And you know, this is samurai time, so there's like this idea that like a samurai fights with some, just like how like when the British used to line up and shoot, you know, and then you had the guerrilla kind of tactics where they're coming in fucking, you know, just guns blazing. That's kind of the same concept that the samurai had versus the Mongol invasions. It was just like, fuck your shit, we're just gonna hack and slash or whatever. So interesting shit for me, but it's a video game, and to me, I check out, man. Like I fucking start playing that game, and it's like I said, there's not enough TV, like interesting TV shows out there to watch to grab my attention like playing a video game.
Me and Les lost a whole year of our lives playing Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, Red Dead Redemption.
So I mean, like,
that shit emotionally drained me and everything. Like,
emotionally drained.
It did. No, me and him both. We talked about it with each other. Yeah,
man, I didn't expect this shit to get that deep.
Yeah, so
yeah, straight up.
That was the first game ever though where the main character kind of checks out like 3/4 of the way through.
Yeah, that's another thing. I thought the game was over, and I'm like, wait, hold on.
Did you ever play Red Dead Redemption 1?
Nah, I didn't.
So that's
I played it, but I never played the story. Like I would fuck around on it.
Oh, you did the fucking Grand Theft Auto shit. Yeah. No, that game's good as fuck. And so what I kept saying after I finished that part and you start playing as John Marston now. Yeah. I was like, man, I hope they just kind of, I'll replay the game again with this kind of graphics and like remastered. And that would be so sick if they did it to where like once you play that, you do this kind of prelude to the actual Red Dead Redemption 1. Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, if they do that, America is going to shut. You think the economy's on shutdown now? If Red Dead Redemption 3 comes out right now, we're done working.
No, when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, that's supposed to be.
Do you remember the rumor that they were supposed to do it in Houston?
Not everybody. No,
I know you heard it.
I did, but that's the thing. Like me being a video game person that's into that shit. Every time I would hear that, I'm like, somebody in Houston just said that, and everybody's running with it. That was never like a thing. I know they never thought like, oh, we're gonna do it. There's not enough in Houston to do it. No disrespect. We love to live there.
No bullshit. There is enough shit in Houston.
There is.
You can live this shit in real life in 6 blocks from where we're doing this thing right now.
I'm talking about what they would do, just watching how they did the California shit, the New York shit, and everything. What they would probably do is make a bootleg version of Texas like they did with California.
With the first San Andreas.
Compress it. Yeah. Like make it to where like El Paso and that type of shit is only like 30 seconds away from Houston. Yeah. And then there's another city that's like up north that would be like Dallas. It's like they would have to like make the beach seem closer to
Austin's just a real weird neighborhood in the middle of all of it.
A whole bunch of hippies.
They couldn't just make it like north side, south side. Like there's no scenery in Houston. There's no beaches. It would just be some straight like the GTA New York.
Thanks for bursting my bubble.
I don't think there's much of a draw. Like when you play a video game.
Go to Sharpstown Mall.
That would be crazy. I wish they had somebody who was just good at games that could just make that for us.
There is games that like I played where like there's this game Watch Dogs where 1 and 2, like 1 is like you're in Chicago.
Is that the one with like all the technology shit?
Yeah, like where you help cell phone hacks and shit. The second one was in San Francisco, and I spent a lot of time in San Francisco. So to me, it's like fuck, man, like. This is a spot in San Francisco that's actually there.
And with Grand Theft Auto, when you're playing that shit, you're like, yo, I know where this is in LA. Like I know exactly what part of Hollywood y'all made this part of the game. Like
exactly.
The strip club, South Central.
The strip club that I used to go to is right outside of San Pedro is the same one in the damn
So it's like, it's cool to see shit that it would be crazy to see like Westheimer on the video game and drive through 45 going through downtown.
It's too late now, dog. You bursting my bubble on the whole idea.
I don't think they love us enough
for
that.
There's other franchises that make games too that like would probably or possibly take that route if the narrative fits.
There's games that piss me off though. I just played a fucking There's a game that was like a Need for Speed type game, and they did the shit where they had like every city.
And like Houston got left out. Always.
Always.
And we're the fourth largest.
Well, here's the deal about
that. We're the fourth largest city in the continental United States, or the third.
They did not have Houston.
Shit goes down in Houston that nobody ever hears about. A police helicopter ran into an apartment complex down here. Didn't even make national news.
Nobody cares.
Dude, come on.
I'm dead serious.
No, they don't. They like
Yeah.
Nobody down here gives a shit.
We had
another thing I'd be ashamed of in Houston, every time a fucking viral video comes out of some wild shit going on, it's like 9 times out of 10. Like you'll see people
from
fighting
Pasadena?
in the street, or from fucking the north side.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm
Always
in one of
people
them.
fighting
Yeah,
on
no,
1960.
yeah, I'm in one of them. Yeah.
Road rage videos and shit. You'd be like, oh shit, I know what that's at.
Yeah.
Well, you've been to a lot of spots out in Cali, right? Like NorCal, SoCal, and how the people are different. You know, like they're all the same. Like there's this whole California connection, but dude, NorCal cats have a way different mentality than SoCal, and you could say that about Texas. How you know Dallas has their kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Houston's, you know, what is it? Keep Houston hood, keep Austin weird, and keep Dallas pretentious. Or
every
whatever.
one of the cities in Texas for sure is different vibes.
Yeah.
San Antonio is a whole different vibe.
Than Austin, which
Austin
is down the
is
street.
a whole different
Yeah.
vibe. Yeah, I'm about to say Dallas is completely different. You go to the Valley, it's completely different. Houston is different. Beaumont, Port Arthur, all that shit. It's just
Houston to me has always been like a super blue collar town, and so, man, there's a lot of money in Houston. There's a lot of opportunity in Houston. There's a lot of everything in Houston because it's such a big place. But at the core of it, I think the reason we're all polite and the reason we get along the way we do is because it's such a blue collar town. Like, man, these guys work.
Everybody
works out here.
Yeah,
they're
everybody
mechanics,
works.
Everybody works. Everybody works. Everybody hustles.
If you don't work, they look at you like, man.
Yeah, I ain't met a lot of trust fund kids living down here. Yeah.
No, that's crazy, man. So, you know, you got, you know, how we haven't even talked about bikes at all. So.
No, not once. Yeah.
But you know, when I met you, you were on the street glide. Do you still have that, or were you in between bikes?
I'm in between right now. Yeah. Mike's leading me towards the diner. He knows I love the big joints. The baggers and shit.
Dude, stay with the baggers, man. Fuck these diners.
Shit, I might only have space for a diner though, so you might end up winning.
Look, I've ridden with the man, and I'm telling you right now, you're gonna be a whole lot happier on a dyno.
Is he? Are you fat? You ride fast a lot?
He's quick.
Dude, I need
to get a vouch for it.
So I already talked shit to the Dyna boys the Dyna crew last night. So I feel like I need to bring my bike down here and just show you guys that big bikes ride fucking fast.
But I will say this, and I was even about to get one before I moved from the Woodlands. When I sat down on the Dyna, I didn't even ride it, but I just sat down on one. And one of my first bikes was like a fat bob type shit.
Yeah.
But I was like, after having a street glide and shit, sitting on a Dyna, it's kind of like, I could get used to this. Like, it's just so nimble.
The nimbleness,
it's just like the feeling of control. And, but then, I haven't rode a brand new road glide. So, that's the only
road
thing.
glides are life,
that
baby.
can fuck me up.
Yeah.
Look here. Just saying. Man, look. There's going to be good parts and bad parts to both of it, but I'm telling you right now. An older Dyna, get you an older, very well respected, maybe an 04 DX or something real nice that somebody might want to steal in Indiana. Yeah, get you something real nice like that, and just keep that on the back burner for it's always there, and then buy another bike. I mean, shit, I got
Dude, you can get Dyna so cheap, man.
Yeah, that's another thing. That's the point that he made. Like, you might as well just build one, like just to have it and keep it, and swap out on the big nice shit.
Yeah.
Well, and it goes back to building a bike, right? Like you can go and buy, you go buy a CVO Street Glide right now, and you're gonna have the same CVO Street Glide that everybody else had. Man, we all know enough people. Like my bike is my bike. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like it's unique to me all day, and I can peel all that crap off of it and stick it on the next one when I want to. It's not. It's only worth what it's worth.
How does it with you? Because like I was saying, I saw that you did that whole y'all went out to West Texas, did the recording with Bun B and everything. When you're doing things like that a lot, and like you said, you're dropping these like albums more or less so quickly now. Like, how do you have time to enjoy any of that type of shit? Man,
it don't take all day to do music.
You can't. Can you get into it though and like really like dive into something, or do you have to?
I work in spurts. Like as much as stuff as I put out, people like have this whole. At church, people like dudes, other rappers call me. Everybody just be like, yo, bro, you must wake up and just roll over and get the rapping. I'm like, bro, I would go a week and a half and not do shit. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I won't write a song, won't do anything. And then that day will come where I do fucking 18 of them hoes. In like a 3-day span.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I don't force shit.
Yeah.
Like, I like what I do. I feel like I'm pretty good at what I do. I work on my craft like that. As far as producing and making beats, I'm doing that every day.
Sounds like a painter, I know.
That's like making beats is different. Like,
yeah.
I'm new to it. I got good at it kind of fast. A lot of people want it from me and stuff, and it's like something that it may have been damn near what I should have been doing, just production, because I came to it so quick.
Yeah, quickly.
But I'm still in that space where it's really new to me, and I'm really enjoying. Not saying I don't enjoy writing songs. I just wrote a million of them, so it's like I'm still new to the beats. I'm still learning things. I'm still going. As far as writing songs, the beat is really what makes the song. Like the production writes about 50% of the song for me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I know what melody I'm gonna come with or whatever. Or
and the vibe of the song too.
Yeah. So like as far as the workflow goes, like with that, like that's fun. Like it's like playing video games every day. I get up, go to my little makeshift studio at the crib, bang out like 5 beats. That's pretty good. You know, 5 ideas started for the day. Next thing you know, you sitting on like fucking 50 beats. And then I can go in there like, okay, well, let me do a project. I'll take 10 of these. It's all sound good together. Bam, knock it out, put it out, and then shit, you know, keep it moving to the next shit. It's like, a lot of rap dudes they have a different, they view it skewed on how this shit's supposed to go, especially if you're independent. You know what I mean? A lot of dudes all think that right now, they have this big dream. And I know y'all know it from like doing motorcycle shit and chipping away at it for years and building as you go along. Like a lot of dudes coming to this shit with this big grandiose idea of like, I'm gonna do this one thing, everybody's gonna hear about it, it's gonna break through, they're gonna love it, and I'm gonna be Drake. Or Travis Scott or whatever. You know what I mean? Doesn't happen like that for everybody. Didn't happen like that for me. Didn't happen like that for a lot of dudes, but there's a lot of dudes I looked up to, like the Currencies, the Slim Thugs, even the Bun B's, that's Underground Kings. That's where he comes from. These dudes had the long road. So when you know you're here for the long road, and once you figure out how the shit works and how to get paid and continue to build while you're working, you just kind of figure out a flow of things. You know what I mean? Like I know to have a good year monetarily, I need to put out 4 projects. So like I just know that's something I have to do every year, regardless. Like as long as I have a fan base. Do 4 projects. Within those 4, you figure out what 2 is going to be the ones you want to do for them and what 2 is going to be the ones for you. And in between, you can drop some EPs and do other shit and then collaborate with other artists. And then while you're working, you're making money. And at the same time, you're giving yourself a space to like continue to like try new shit and go further. You know what I mean?
So before all the COVID shit happened, you were doing a lot more like shows, touring a little bit kind of things?
Man, I never really, I've toured the country probably like 4 times, like with even myself and with other artists and shit like that, but that's never been like me being an artist that's independent. It's always a big bag. It always makes you a lot of money. When you own your music, like the streaming and the iTunes downloads, like when you own your masters and there's not all these labels taking money out your pocket or whatever, pays pretty good. So you can, that's why you see a lot more artists like the biggest artist right now, I don't really listen to him, is a little young dude from Louisiana named NBA Youngboy. The dude say he's not even gonna do shows no more. He said this before COVID. He's making so much money off streams. He's like, what the fuck am I
so the streams
leave the
work.
house, you get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? You know, like he does. So
man, I'll tell you right now, not as your friend, man, but like the shows that you invited us out to and the ones I've seen you live at, those are some of the best times I've ever had. They really are, man. And but that's why you. Man, as a fan of yours, that's why I would say and advocate, man. Like you do those shows, man, because like it's fun.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait.
You can't tell me and you had some fun at some of your shows.
Now after this COVID shit, it's gonna be hard pressed to keep me like when shows are allowed again. It's gonna be hard pressed to keep me from doing shows. I'm never taking that for granted again. I'm gonna be honest. Like me saying all this shit sounds good about I didn't have to, but no. Now when this shit is over, bro, I'm trying to be on stage every fucking night because. The money's one thing, but it's just like the feeling of just being up there, people supporting you, just having a good time, people enjoying that shit.
But you get to see the fruits of your labor though in the show, like and I'm just speaking from not experience 100%, but just imagine like if you put all this work in that's in a studio or behind the closed doors, and then you put it out there. People like it online, but you don't see it in their face. You know what I'm saying?
Like my first sold out show was in Dallas, and I'll never forget. I fucked up the performance. They didn't notice, but I'm rapping and I'm looking in the crowd. And it was my first time seeing like fucking 5 kids saying the shit that I just put out 3 days ago, word for word.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you know this shit better than fucking me. Like, what the fuck? And it fucked me up. And I'll never forget. I had an '88 Monte Carlo. I at that time, money wasn't too long or anything, but I drove that bitch up there. They had booked me, for the show, paid me. I had rooms and all that shit. I was so hyped off that shit that I got back in that '88 Monte Carlo and drove all the way back to Houston, went straight to the studio.
Yeah.
Because it just felt so good to see motherfuckers, like, to see it working.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
'Cause at that time, I was just in the fucking studio at the Hog Pen Slim Thug studio, just working my ass off, and, not
that's
really
gotta be inspiring to you to see, like, see people's reaction.
That was it for me. Like, even with just even like social media, like when I first started, like I said, we was handing out CDs, and the first time I put out something on the internet was with my Slim's DJ that discovered me, DJ Mr. Rogers. It used to take us a ton of money and a ton of time to get off of 1,000 CDs for free.
Yeah.
Just handing them out. The first day that he put out music, I didn't even know. He hit me up and know. He's like, "Oh yeah, I put out that tape we worked on today." I'm like, "Oh shit, you did?" He's like, "Yeah." He was like, 3,000 downloads. It only been up 8 hours. I'm like, 3,000 people got it.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking on Twitter and all these people loving it and shit that I've never, like, I had 100 followers at the time. I'm like, people are loving it, whatever. And I'm like, oh, so this all we got to do?
Yeah.
Go, I'm gonna make another one. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. Like, that's how I always been. Like
yeah.
If I built bikes,
yeah.
If I built a bike and everybody loved it, I'd be back in the garage that night.
Yeah, it does feed
the day that the guy came to pick it up with a smile on his face, I'd be building the next person's bike if I could. Like,
my homeboy used to say this, or he said this to me, and it's always stuck. It's like there's an emotional roller coaster with creating things, Yeah. Because the creation process can kind of really drag you down and make you feel like if you're worth it, are you relevant? You
think you hate it at a certain point? You're like, is anybody gonna listen to this shit?
And when it does hit, like when it does come out and people dig it, like it puts you on this high of like, fuck yeah, like. But then you hit that anxiety fucking thing and that insecure thing going back into the creative process.
Yeah, can you do it again?
Yeah.
Are they gonna like this next shit? Or I want to try this. I'm bored. You know what I mean? Like you want to do something. Cause that's something that I had to deal with. I make so much music that at times I'm going to do some shit that may not be like the last shit because fuck if I keep. Because you're gonna hate me anyway if I do the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
you're gonna get bored. Mm-hmm. So like nobody kept like I've never listened to anybody that just like even Jay-Z like. It's simple switches that you can do that'll change everything. You can always be you, just have a different person produce the next project.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sound. The beats will be different. Like you know what I'm saying? Like your message could always be the same, but just make sure something's different there that kind of keeps people like,
I remember that next time I produce an album.
Because so like being too consistent can be a bad thing. Because like that's why people don't appreciate Chick-fil-A the way they should.
Well, you come
on. You know what I'm saying? Like no, I'm being for real.
God.
Like no, I'm so serious. Because when that Popeye sandwich came out, everybody started fucking tripping. Like everybody like, yo, this Popeye sandwich is the shit. I had the sandwich. It was cool. It was nice. Yeah, it was a change of pace. But go again.
Yeah.
Go to Popeyes again. That sandwich is gonna either be cold, the sauce ain't gonna be right, something's gonna be off about it. But guess what? Every time you go get that motherfucking number 2 or 3, whatever from Chick-fil-A, that motherfucker is right.
It's correct.
It's correct every time. But you're not talking about it because you're so used to it being right. It's nothing. It's not impressing you no more. Whatever, you don't realize until you go try to get that Popeye sandwich 3 times in a row.
So what you're saying is that Harley Davidson needs to apply the same logic to making bikes, bring back the Dyna, and just make the same thing.
They just could have named the lowrider a Dyna. They could have been like, this is the new Dyna, guys. Here, we just changed a few things. I know there's certain things that make a Dyna, but it's just marketing,
Yeah.
I'll never look at a number 2 from Chick-fil-A the same way. I'll never not appreciate it.
But I mean, they're doing it with, like, I see that, like, they're embracing the performance bagger shit.
That's the man right there, dude.
No, I'm talking about Harley is though. Like as a company, seems like they're embracing it. Like then they come down with like that stripped down fucking street glide. That
so the standard. But the thing is with them is like the touring models is always the flagship of selling. Yeah. So you got Sportsters that always sell, and then you got touring models.
I told you today, I sold 3 black street glides for every one any other bike I ever sold when I sold motors.
So when there's a trend that happens to the baggers, they're going to take note of that a lot quicker because that's their flagship sells things. And You know, like I said, and the thing about performance baggers is it's all about making the thing ride better, and you're not really putting anything on the bike that inhibits the bike from being able to do what it's designed to do, as opposed to like if you're putting air ride and massive stereos, then you're kind of making the bike work harder than it's designed to. So I feel like they're definitely going to do it because they can easily next year, which they might, we'll see, but they can easily do an inverted front end on a bagger.
Yes.
Put some radial fucking brakes. Give me a little bit more intuitiveness with the infotainment center. And I'm like, hey, my 19's for sale, buddy. I got to get that new shit.
Well, that's easy for them to do.
But even then, you look at what performance bagger is, and Jace may disagree with me on this. You're enhancing the frame geometry of the bike. That's the core of a bike is its frame, right? Yeah. So everything you're doing on there needs to enhance the frame geometry, the riding position of the rider, the rake trail, all the fun things about motorcycle. And so until Harley realizes that's kind of the core of a motorcycle. It's not the powertrain. Right. You know, a 96. I know guys on 96 cubic inch engines that'll outrun a guy on a 115 all day. Yeah. You know, they just understand the geometry of what they're doing a little bit better. They understand the riding posture of what they do. They understand riding motorcycles better. And that's, to me, when you do performance baggers, there's a lot of guys throwing inverted front ends on bikes and 13-inch shocks on the back. Still can't ride for shit. So you know what I mean? You're not complimenting the frame. You're not complimenting the bike. You're not complimenting.
I think any like genre of style of bike that you want to put out or anything you do, as long as the modifications of it give you happiness when you get it, like lasting happiness for the bike.
I want a 30-inch front wheel and a stereo, Jason.
Yeah, but there are some, like I was telling you about it. Like
there's some people happy though.
There's some dudes that are out there, but that happiness, like when you're. We've been talking about this all weekend since we've been hanging out. You have the financial investment to these cars and these bikes that make you feel like, fuck, I got a dope ass ride now, right? But at what point is it like just the fact of I was telling you, like, I got a 07 Lexus GS 350 out there. I fucking love that car.
Right.
I wanted that car so bad in 07.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford that shit. It was a $60,000
for
car.
sure.
$6,200 though.
Yeah.
Shit was cash.
Was hard too.
So my thing was like, I wanted that car and I was able to get it now, cash, and I have a payment. So to me, I like that. It felt good. Even though like if it was a newer GS going down the highway, I would feel way more cooler. But I'm stoked with it. And I'm stoked with my bike the way it is, but it does feel good when the trends that me and some other people have been trying to push and bring start to become popular to everybody. And it feels like the fruits of your labor to make something cool is now finally starting to become cool.
the first guys, you, Chamberlain, there were a lot of guys out there that were kind of at the forefront of it. I think it's kind of unusual that Harley's kind of picked up on that now. And I think you're right. I think it's because that's the flagship stuff of it. And I say that, my bubble's maybe a little bit bigger than most people in motorcycles, but definitely I'm definitely noticing that the OEMs are taking more of a step in that direction, which is also why I think that the next motorcycles that you're going to see that are real popular are overly branded, look like MotoGP, F1.
Yeah, they're going to have.
They're going to have those same stickers.
That CVO they came out like a year ago.
Yes.
The one with the Harley. You know what I mean? Like they had.
And you're going to see the same thing, the monocolored stickers running down the back of the bags of all the shit that's on that bike. The Motul, Legend, all the brands.
All that stuff
be down the side of it.
But like there's a difference between when you buy something that makes you feel good about owning it, and then there's also when you like I was telling you, man, like when I was into import cars, you know what it's like to be 19 years old into like this car, and there's this magic motor that makes this car so much cooler and better. Yeah. And it's only $2,500, and I work at Walmart changing oil. You know what I'm saying? So there's this thing like, but you have to want that, and then when you get that, it fucking means a lot to you. Versus it, what a lot of the dudes at this that little big wheel bagger sound competition we were at earlier. I'm generalizing here, and I'm probably overstating the thing, but
you'll get the hate no matter what.
They don't fucking listen to this. It's possibly the fact that like these dudes are it's maybe not a midlife crisis, but they're looking to be a part of something cool like that.
It seems like it is. I don't shit on nobody. It just. I don't know. It seems obnoxious sometimes.
A little bit. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just like I don't know. Like I come from I look at big wheel baggers, and then I just remember, the slab days, and I'd be like, okay, we were fucking 21, 22 with pop trunk and loud music and being disruptive and loud and shit like that. But at a certain point, it's like when you get into the real shit and you get around the dudes with the cars that you really want and the shit that you like, it's not like that. It's like, it's not a dick measuring contest.
Ice Cube said it in that fucking, when he was a coach for a football team, and he asked that kid, like, hey, if you score a touchdown, what you gonna do? Oh, I'm a dancer. He's like, no, you fucking hand the ball to the ref and walk away like you've been in the end zone before. You know what I mean? Act like you've had nice shit.
I know a lot of you did the big wheel bagger shit,
it was the man.
It was a thing. I think you did it for when it was time for it was. You continued to progress. You didn't stay there.
Yeah.
I feel like the dudes that get into it right now, and I give my guy a pass. Like I said, he's fucking 6'10". You know what I mean? Like, that's on his side. Like, that's just how his bikes look. You know what I mean? And that's the people that... And also, he fucks with people that fucks with him. So, only people that's trying to build him a bike, and he got to listen that builds bikes and want to fuck with Slim Thug or whatever. Like, only people that offer to build him bikes are, big wheel bagger builders. But, man, when I see it, it's just like, I don't see passion in it. I don't see... Like, I don't feel like nobody's doing it because, like, they like to ride because you really can't ride that. And then and then on top of that, it's just like, I mean, really, that's really the point. You can't really ride it. Like, and then it reminds me of like a tribal tattoo. You know what I mean? Like that. I don't know. That's when I look at a big wheel bagger. That's what I see. And it's fun. Like, I think of Goldberg. Don't beat me up if you listen to this. But like, that's just what I think. Like, I'm just like, And then, like, we'll go to, like, Galveston and everybody will be standing on top of their bikes and playing the music super
so
loud.
gay.
And it's just like, I can't hear this song over that song, and I've got a fucking headache. And, well, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I don't know.
It is
and
obnoxious.
I've been, like, we've all been young and dumb, and it just seems like the dudes that do it is like, you're not young. Those dudes are usually older than us, bro. Like, you know what I mean?
I was telling him the weirdest thing is when you have like this, 45, 49-year-old white dude that starts playing, Nelly and shit like that. You know what I mean? They don't listen to that shit. I gotta pee.
Sarah, like, she'll blow up my phone. Like, she'll know what I'm doing and just keep calling.
Sarah in here?
Yeah. Like, Sarah, I told you what I'm doing, girl.
Hit the FaceTime on her.
What's up?
Why are you calling me back FaceTime?
Because, hey, say hi to Mike.
What's up, girl?
We're doing a podcast.
Good.
No, I was just saying what time you're trying to get food.
When I finish.
Hey, when you gonna come by and see my new spot?
I know, I need to come check it out. Les showed me some pictures. It looks really nice.
It's all right. I mean, I'm trying. You know what I mean?
There's a garage in there.
The whole place is a garage.
It is. The whole thing's a garage. It's crazy.
The whole thing is just one big garage.
All right, well, I hit you when I leave. All right. This shit, I told George, it's like somewhere Paul Walker would live, like in the Fast and Furious.
I'm working on it every day. I'm working on it every day.
And they're sitting in there or some shit.
Dude, we did Moto movie night in this bad boy last night. Stone Cold with Brian Bosworth.
Word.
You ever see that bad boy?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Jason never seen
that
it.
shit in forever.
Dude, we watched it last night. We had a projector out back. Like 6 or 7 of those Dyna Crew guys.
Did you watch that on something? Did they have it on something?
Dude, you can get on YouTube, free, full-length movie.
See, that's what it be like. The good shit like that, they will have on YouTube.
Dude,
they'll have shit like that on YouTube.
Stone Cold and the damn, the next one I'm doing for sure is that Charlie Sheen one. Which one? Beyond the Law, dog.
Beyond the Law.
Oh, yeah.
You've never been stomped till you've been stomped by a jackal. Dude, come on.
Charlie Sheen has some hits, man. I know they be trying to shit on him.
Dude, that was full coke Charlie Sheen, too.
That's what it has to be, the full coke Charlie Sheen.
Yeah, he was good.
But yeah, man, back to that shit, like I said, is a tribal tattoo.
Yeah,
tribal tattoo of motorcycles. Is that what you're putting into?
It was badass at the time, but now after you look back at it 5 years later,
when it was a thing and it was like kind of like the new progressive thing for that like short time that it was or long whatever, I get it. But when it's like old and y'all still going in with it, it's just like it reminds me when dudes was just like putting 30s on whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
cars,
on cars. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it was just like you got like the dub shit. Like I think when I think of those motorcycles, I think of like dub car show because that's what you would see up there.
Yeah, and that's kind of the vibe it is, And like I said, I know that when I got it, it was just like business wise, like that was the money making bike. Like if you wanted to make money building bikes, you built big wheel baggers, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
But now, you know, we've had to evolve and learn how to do other things other than work with fiberglass to stay relevant. And that's kind of the thing. It's about staying relevant, you know. Like Eric is a friend of mine down here in Houston that builds these extravagant bikes.
Yeah.
But I don't see if he doesn't evolve. Well, here's the deal. Like Jesse James can still build whatever bike he wants because he built a name.
It's Jesse James.
Exactly. Agreed.
It's just and he rode the motherfuckers. Like I mean I seen the pictures of you riding the shit out your big wheel bagger, but it's just Jesse's just that's different, man.
Yeah, it is
like
different.
That thing's a time capsule. Those fucking
that
CFL frames and all that shit.
When you gotta like, dude, that guy is the best in the world.
Yeah.
Not undisputed world heavyweight champ of motorcycle
fucking
fabrication and building,
welding and shit. Like, his cars are hard.
That's not. He's not good at it. He's the best at it.
Pope. Yeah. But that's the thing. Yeah. So how do you, you know, like you want to. You know, and like Eric built some cool shit. I mean, it's his style, and he's a all-in-one guy, paint, fabrication, wrench. But I just don't know if the big wheel bagger thing is going to be the thing that's going to leave him the legacy that he could have if he starts working with other bikes and stops throwing big wheels on everything.
Yeah, but your man's pushing into that. He tried this year with that bike he took to Sturgis, and lo and behold, whatever everybody says about it really doesn't matter. He's moving in that direction.
Yeah, well, you know.
And I don't think that like me and you in the motorcycle industry are not ones that evolve around of our industry. We tend to be, man, I've said it before, man, I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
Yeah.
You know, period. In the
you
story.
want to be you don't, it's not that you want to be a trendsetter.
Really
it's just
hard on that performance bagger thing because you were into it.
I dug it, man. And I still
you were
do.
influencing the environment around you. I mean, you got a podcast with a bunch of people listening to it that heard it a lot and
on Dave's
shined a bunch of light out. Yeah,
but that's the thing. It's like
your bike is like the fucking, like you'll see it posted on all the different little, you know, the performance sites and everything. Like this is what it is. Like this is what it should look like. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it's I mean that's a fortunate thing of doing this stuff is like, you know, my main trade of paint is about making things look good.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or and things like that. So it's like for me, like Instagram and you know, taking pictures of shit, like it's a perfect combination because I sell a visual
thank God
thing.
we live in a visual community at the moment. Yeah.
If this was fucking, you know, Auto Trader ads and Craigslist ads, I'd be fucked, man. You know,
it's a tough time.
You know, the hardest thing is like we've been talking about marketing and advertising all weekend, but think about all the people that make badass products that they're products that go inside something that you don't see.
You'll never see it.
How do you market that on social media? How do you make it your product relevant on that kind of thing? It's a tough one, man. You know what I'm saying?
You have to associate it with shit they do see.
Yeah.
Like especially like bike parts and shit like that. Like, you ever notice like
I mean,
what's
a chest
the name
cam
of that? Like what's the Olin shit and all that? Like you see it.
Yeah, shocks.
You know
I mean, shocks are outside things.
Notice how they make it like you see the branding on it. You see it's a look to it. The cartridges, all that shit.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that. They're smart for that because it's like you know what it looks like.
Well, yeah, and you have to, right? And like in the same thing, like a lot of shock companies are a really good example because they've all kind of picked colors. Like if I see a set of blue stickers on a bike, that's a set of Legends. If I see an orange, a black and orange, it's a Fox. If I see a red and white, it's a Racing Brothers. If I see a gold, it's an Olin's. And so. Yeah, because dude, the whole motorcycle industry is super visual now, and Jace is a bike painter, and that's just it. Mm-hmm. You now have a little bit more pull, I think, in the entire industry because what you do so good and what you're really good at is the visual piece of it. And the whole damn industry lives on Instagram now. Instagram and YouTube.
I'll say this. I mean, you might know I might be giving too much game, but like even like certain things that I've seen work in the car industry, I haven't really seen people doing motorcycles yet.
We talked about that today too.
I said like the whole vlogging thing and like shooting it a certain way. It takes people to do it. Like you might have to have somebody follow you in the truck and like get the shots right and all that type of stuff.
So,
but like just documenting shit. That's why we like Jesse James so much.
Yeah.
Because we were immersed into 3 DVDs, you know, worth of like just being in his shop. Seeing his day-to-day, his cars, his shop, his family, how he dressed, his business, how he
had a badass dog.
Cool dog. Like you just knew everything about him, and you watched it, and then you see the shit after the motorcycle mania where they were building the bikes and after you shut down.
Like the car industry is so much bigger than the motorcycle industry.
Right, yeah.
And especially when you like
you
break
got so many different segments.
Yeah, so I
of it,
mean,
too.
if you just took like the Mopar dudes,
Right.
right? All the dudes that are running around on Challengers and Chargers and all the shit they do to those cars, like they can have YouTube channels and easily have hundreds of thousands of viewers because hundreds of thousands of dudes
People
have those
cars,
Chargers now, as opposed to like there's maybe 100,000 people rocking road glides. Definitely, I mean, think about it.
Then you gotta think of like the old guys who have road glides. So don't even
There's
check
maybe 100,000
anything
dudes
beyond,
rocking
right,
road glides
like,
in America.
I always heard that, man, 1% of the population rides. But 1% of the population rides.
Yeah.
So only 1% of the population rides motorcycles, and then there's a smaller percentage that rides cruiser type motorcycles versus sport bike or adventure touring or dirt bike
What we haven't been able to do, and the reason why a lot of us can't create those type of videos yet, we could, but it's all on our dime, and there's nobody to cut us a check in the long run. And the YouTube thing is different because, you know, it's kind of like it's kind of equivalent to the streaming thing, like people doing their eyebrows, women doing their eyebrows, and those other things get so many views that my stuff's more in tune, but there's how many chicks out there are trying to get that shit figured out? Yeah. So they're gonna watch those videos. So those videos got millions of views. If one of my videos or if me airbrushing a helmet or something like this got like 100,000 views, that would be equivalent in my industry as the 10 million views for her.
For sure.
Yeah.
So we don't get the paychecks the way that they're getting because our industry's so much smaller.
Well, then the problem with the industry too is it's got a lot of sex appeal to it. Like motorcycles are sexy and pretty, and people like that. It's the same thing in the music industry.
The thing I would say is, not to cut y'all off, but see, the thing is, when it's presented that way, because I think that's a disconnect to a lot of younger guys. I'm trying to say, like, basically, like, okay, when I got into the import scene, well, I've always been into it, but as I watched the progression of, like, the websites and the coverage and the blogs and even the Instagram guys that's covering it and the way it was shot, it was done, I mean, it's all, like, low budget is big budget now. You know what I mean? You can look at your somebody with a Sony A3 camera, and that shit's gonna look like a fucking movie. So like these dudes are shooting all these like, you know, like they'll do a video on a fucking Civic build and the shit looks like a video game. Like it's like some real pretty cool shit. Or they'll do a vlog series of a build and it's just put together real well. And I know like the industries are all different, but I do feel like motorcycles, especially like the Harley world, for being around younger dudes and having friends come up to me every day and be like, man, I want to do this shit, but there's always a but. You know what I mean? If they could see the shit done, see like the community behind it, maybe see the coolness about it, the welcomeness about it, the you know, the camaraderie behind it, the builds, the cool side of it, and it's not all what you think it is from 1992 and whatever movie you've seen. Then they'll probably be like, oh, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like I even seen a lot of dudes do it. When I did it, they were like, yo, let's ride. It's like, shit. You know what I mean? Yo, get a bike. You know what I'm saying? Like
that's a good point. It's like you know,
have
like
to present it to them. You know what I mean? Like to make the community bigger.
And see, that's the thing. If
people think it's all Sons of Anarchy.
Well, I think too, that's another problem in the motorcycle industry. We tend to sell to other motorcycle guys, and we don't tend to branch out into other areas and other parts of the culture that are appropriate to motorcycle. Look, I can only sell a guy a bike or an idea one time, you know what I mean? Before he goes off and ventures out and runs into Jace or these other influences, I don't think motorcycles real good at selling out into other cultures and other things.
Well, see, I try to do that with like our bike trips.
There's a few of us that are,
and things like that. But also, I don't have. I don't have
drift stuff with him.
One of my good buddies, James, who does we do our recap podcast of all our trips. He did this. You know, he's been like carrying his GoPro around, and he just put together a nice video of our like ass into this Sturgis trip we did, and you know, it's, I don't know what the right word is. I wouldn't say it's low budget. It's I'm proud of it because as him, like seeing him progress and what he's doing, I'm like, dude, like I want to, dude, man, start fucking doing this shit. Because he did a good job with that video, and now I'm thinking like, fuck, man, like I want to help him get some footage and shit, but. We try to do that, but it's really hard to stay authentic and go do these videos, man.
It's so, like it's all. First thing is like you can't shoot it yourself. You're gonna have to find somebody that But it's hard to do it because, like, the way I explained it, like, we were talking about some shit the other day. Like, Slim wants to do some shit like he wants to do some shit where people come check out his cars, whatever, and film.
Some
whatever.
Jay Leno's garage
yeah,
type
you
stuff.
know, just like he's in the cars and shit, and cause we even working on some shit with cars and stuff. But he's like, dog. Every time I get somebody, like everybody doesn't have like my partner Georgie that I have that is into cars also. And like if we go shoot a car, I don't have to be like, yo, Georgie, get that. Oh, you might want to show him that because that you know, and the dude doesn't have a clue.
I was gonna say Georgie's on his shit 24/7. Yeah,
Georgie's building a truck. He's a fucking Mopar guy. He has a clean ass SRT8 Charger, whatever, all that. I don't have to tell him shit. But Slim's like, yo, every time I get a dude to come shoot for me, it'll be some, you know, motherfucker that just shoots. I'm trying to tell him, you know, like he'll be showing them like a 50-something caddy and be like, yo, man, they don't know to check out this and check out that or check out this part of the car. If it's a bike, check out this or check out that or show this detail. They'll just take a picture of the shit or just show a video. Here's a bike. You know what I mean? So it's like you just have to make sure whenever y'all. That's why you'll probably end up being you doing it. Yeah. Because guys like us who are hands on, you're gonna want to be like, well, you didn't even show. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you hire some guy that just shoots good videos. They're not gonna really know what part of the bike.
What I learned from this conversation is what's it gonna take to get Georgie in a motorcycle so he could just pick up the flag and start doing it with us, man.
I'm about to say I tried, man, but hey, he'll shoot them.
The other thing that kind of like has made it kind of an insecure thing to do for me at least is that I started following that influencers in the wild page. Y'all follow that?
That's the greatest thing ever.
I haven't even seen it. I need to check it out.
On IG,
it makes you think twice about it, a lot of things.
People looking crazy.
Dude, the shit they do, people are doing to do TikTok videos.
Oh man, fuck them. You're not them. You'll never be. Man, look, bro. The motorcycle shit has been laid before on how to do it.
Yeah.
Motorcycle man. Let's bring them into the shop. Bring them into the day to day. Bring them in. Like, dog, there's dudes I see like just.
That was the goal that I wanted to do was something like that.
Like honestly, bro, like just. It's just like that's all people need to see. Oh man, yeah.
It's influencers in the wild of people doing silly shit in public.
Like they're actually catching. Man, she deserves to get caught walking through. Like you see us all here swimming, lady. Why are you walking through here? Like they're tripping.
Yeah, that one they fall in the pool. Yeah.
I'm about to there's children at that pool. Out and watch this shit all day. And I was just at a pool like a weekend, like last weekend when I was fixing my
Thanks
AC.
for the invite, dog.
Nah, you didn't want to go there, bro.
Yeah, you're right. It looked horrible.
No, I'm telling you, like it was cool. I'm not a big swimmer. The day I went, Sarah drugged me down there for like 2 hours. You can ask her. She was pissed off at me. I left as soon as they finished the AC way quicker than they were supposed to, and I was back at the crib.
Yeah.
I was like, nah, fuck that. I'm going home. I'm in Houston. I don't.
Yeah.
And then the next day I went up there because she stayed. She got like 3 days. That pool is full of people. I'm like, do you not know what's going on right now? Did everybody forget? I'm straight. I'm not getting in there. Like, I'm good. I'm cool on
Dude,
it. I'm not like super scary or none of that shit about what's going on, but I'm still not. I'm not going to jump in a gumbo of motherfuckers. And their kids.
I ain't afraid of the lion at the zoo, but I'm not going to jump in the damn cage if I ain't got to.
I'm straight, G. Like, I'm like, nah, I'm good. And she was like, yeah, you know what? You're kind of right. I'm like, yeah, it's
crazy.
It's still crazy outside, and they're living like it's not. So.
I mean, I'm kind of the worst about it because, like I said, we went to Sturgis and everything was normal as fuck.
Yeah.
And
I seen the videos. It looked mad normal.
It was.
It looked like the corona had touched Sturgis at all.
No, and
it would.
It's really hard. I mean, it's really tough, man, because like, you know, none of us are really getting any accurate information. We're just getting a lot of theory on this, that, and the other, and as much stuff as I've been a part of since the shit has happened, I assume that me and all my boys have got it. We've had it at some point in time.
Yeah, me and all my friends feel like that too.
You know, there's no way.
I know in January, and I know we all probably say this because there's too many people that agree on the same thing. But I know in January I got really sick. You know what I mean? Like for like 3 days.
Yeah.
And it went away.
So I'm hoping that, you know, that is the case because I mean, you know, the concept of herd immunity is the only thing that makes sense for us to ever grow a resistance to it. Just like all that stuff is to get it, but. And the reason why it was such a scary thing for people to try to not do it is because the amount of people that would catch it and it would put them in the hospital.
My sister beat the fuck out of her. Like
for real?
Yeah. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's crazy. But her husband,
nothing.
He caught it, but he was cutting the grass, chilling. Like
it didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Like
him,
just stayed at the crib for a week, 2 weeks.
It's a weird one, man.
It's crazy.
So, but it's really hard
too. Like, all right, y'all just calling every sickness that too.
They are doing that because they get, you know.
Like
every hospital,
coming up. Like,
every hospital that has a case, gets a government like a grant or not a grant, but like they get a fat
some
check.
sort of gentleman incentive for I think to do it. Yeah,
Well, yeah, because they've had to stop doing elective surgeries and other things in the
Yeah.
hospital. So to keep the hospitals open, every case is this and this. So there's a lot of things, but
Yeah, but fuck around. They hear enough of that every day on the news.
exactly. So my thing is,
I was gonna say about motorcycles. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I mean, I like to tell people that regardless of what their situation is right now, it's a fucking good time to like invest in yourself and start trying to learn some shit.
buy
Or
a fucking motorcycle, man.
Stop
Ain't no better
buying-
way to social
yeah.
distance on this planet,
dude,
right
or
now.
just try some shit. Like if you were into video making or doing like me,
Try it.
I've always been into photography, but this year I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna take it seriously.
Yeah.
And so I've been spending my whole time like watching YouTube videos on like editing and
Same.
shooting.
I'm learning to design. Like we have a clothing line and shit. I'm learning to contribute. I bought a camera. I started shooting right before Corona shit started happening. So, yeah.
By the way, the clothing line's amazing.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
I'm banking on this one.
I need to get a little bit more on my shit so I can
got
catch
you.
it next
I
time.
got you.
Yeah.
Nah,
But
it's-
Now
the
it's
clothing
different
line
now because
came
the
out
way
as
we were
rad.
doing shit, man. The way we were doing shit before, it was a lot of dealing with. Unfortunately, it's hard to get things done properly in domestically, I guess.
Domestic.
Here,
Here,
you know what I
yeah.
mean, and
Yeah.
like the quality of shit that we're getting from overseas is just in the business is just way better.
Are y'all gonna be able to do better runs, like bigger runs in the future and shit like that? Is
Way
that on
better.
the
Like,
docket?
yeah. We just. Unfortunately, here people try to keep you like we always would ask people like, "Hey, what about y'all know anybody overseas?" Da, da, da. People always be like, "Nah, you know." They try to keep it from
Yeah.
you. They don't. And then, so we just went and got on the internet and
Yeah.
found the motherfuckers. And then, man, shit like this shit. The detail they did. I know they can't see the hat, but like you see shit like
Yeah, it's solid.
we had a hat like this made in Houston, Texas. Way quality was shit compared to this.
Yeah.
We were paying $28 a hat.
Damn. Well, that's the hard part about it, man. Is
$11.
Trying to figure out how
And
to.
you can control the process. You
Yeah.
can control it. You know
I
what
mean,
you're
look,
looking at. Yeah.
Stickers, like it was like we, all every little detail, like tags, stickers.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
Front to
just-
back.
Just detail now, we could never get that done domestically. All you can do is just stitch on whatever blank they had.
Well, you know when Dixon, had people were fucking with Danny over there about that shit about him having
Doing
making
it in China?
stuff.
I mean-
But the fact is, if he made a really really great post combating the those statements saying that he's not you're not for America,
Not for
blah blah blah.
America.
But it's like, dude,
Nah, they
because
don't know. Yeah.
because he is doing it that way, he's able to he's
guy
able
employs
to.
First of all,
like
look at
40 people right
look
now.
at the price
Yeah.
that you're getting. Number
Yeah.
one, look
Yeah.
at the price that you're getting that shit for. That's nobody should complain at all. 'Cause
Yeah.
they, like, go look at how much the Pendleton shit costs.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. Like, y'all sure y'all want it to be made in the U.S. Because he can jack up his prices another $50
All day.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like there's it's a tough argument, but it's one of those arguments that it's kind of like it's past now because there's so many things that have been left the building
Yeah.
manufacturer wise here in
it's
America
just- it's-
that there's no way you
it's
can
too
do
far
it.
gone. There's nothing you can do about
It's
it.
like okay, well, all right.
Nike's made here like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, there's no way. And you're right. It's
So
exactly what
I'm
it is.
making my
They're not
handlebars here
even-
now with the welder that was made in China.
They're
You
not
know what
even
I mean?
made. Yeah, they're not even in the building anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
it goes all the way down from like sold to seed, like all the way down to the actual products being like the cotton on the t-shirts.
Yes.
Like we don't even do that shit here, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So it's like they just
We
allow-
consume is
Yeah,
what we do.
that's it, yeah.
But no, it's a tough one, and I just
I got all the respect in the world for the makers and the craftsmen and the guys that
Yeah.
are doing it here and shit like that, and I try to support those guys best I can. But the reality is, and
Trying
the
to
way
make
that the
bank.
world way is,
Yeah.
man, dude, you have to cross certain lines to get shit done.
Like I would
End of story.
love to pay. I would love to get this done in America, but like if I'm getting charged $28 a hat, I have to charge you $70.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, is that what you really want? No,
Yeah.
we sold these motherfuckers for $50 or $45, and they fucking sold out in 2 hours. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah.
just we can do because when we didn't even want to tell people the price this time. We wanted to surprise them.
Yeah.
The motherfuckers are like, it's gonna be $80. Fuck, I want
Yeah.
it though. They seen the price. They're like, oh, I need two.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's just I'm not a big believer. Like, I love making nice stuff, and I always wanted like 40's not cheap.
Yeah.
But it's not Like there's hats made like this. I've seen dudes charging 150, 130, and stuff like that in that high fashion.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing is like I've been making everybody wait for shirts from us, and when I do come out, like I want to come out with a really really nice quality shirt that is a representation of our brand, but it's also some shit you want to wear to fucking go get a steak dinner.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, with your old lady. So, like it's not. He
gave me a fucking what's the shirt you gave me? The Lindo break shirt.
Yeah,
I just love the shirt. Like some shirts are just cool. Like you wash them a couple times, they got like a little vintage look to them. They look cool.
Yeah.
Like you
just rock
a little
patinas. It's just a
like food. Like dudes be overthinking some shit sometimes. It's like just make some cool shit. I love like,
that shirt made my rotation because it's the only non-black shirt that I have in the whole damn rotation.
Yeah, dude. You know what I do, man? I go to Champ Sports and I buy those little 4-pack of t-shirts.
Yeah.
Because they fit me the best, and then I wear them once somewhere nice, and then like this one is not a nice one. This is one of the ones I took to Sturgis, and then they turn into work shirts, and I just take them to the shop and I spill paint and all that shit.
You be riding and shit, you wear those shirts and sweat them out.
I don't know. I wear the same Wrangler.
I probably got like a white stain on the back of my shirt from sitting in this fucking Houston heat all the goddamn day.
Man, it's so fucking humid and hot out here.
Mike's walking around with a fucking long sleeve shirt on.
He sure is walking around a long sleeve shirt.
I'm like, bro, it's hot outside.
I just started wearing pants again the other day. I was like, let me put on some pants. I haven't worn pants this year. I don't think. I've been in the house so long. I'm like, I don't think I've covered my legs at all.
Yeah, it's crazy out here, man. Well, shit, I appreciate you doing this. Tell everybody where they can catch you on like you on the Instagram and all that shit.
SteakxShrimp on everything.
What about the clothing thing? What is that? Like, where can they catch that at?
Well, you can find if you just go to my page, you'll see it. You'll see a link to it. But it's called Dios, Dios. Did it ourselves. So it's just something we doing for all the blue collar guys that like to get their hands. Then you got the Dios in Spanish means God also.
So if people want to look up some of your music, would they just look under the less?
Look under less. Yeah. LE $, man. Just type that in your Apple Music. Spotify is a little harder, but Apple Music, everything comes right up and shit.
And you can pay for it there, right?
Yep. Yeah. And stream, man. And stream.
All right. Well, I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we've been talking about doing it for a minute.
For a while, yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yes, sir.
Yo, hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a good time talking with him, hanging out with Mike, and just being down in Houston in general and seeing the city. I haven't been down there in a while. It's been a good time. If you guys check out our sponsors, SimpsonMotorcycleHelmets.com and Simpson Motorcycle Helmets on Instagram. Paint Huffer Metal Flake on Instagram and PaintHuffer.com. Fast Life 20. Save yourself 10% off your entire order. thundermax EFI on Instagram and ShopTmax.com. Fast Life for 10% off your entire order. Lexin Moto on Instagram and Lexin-Moto.com. Offer code FASTLIFE saves you 15%. And Dream Rides John on Instagram and TeamDreamRides.com. Thank you guys for joining us again, and I got one more coming out in just a minute before we get ready to start working on September. Thank you guys for supporting this podcast. Like I said, check out our sponsors. They're the shit. And I don't really know what else to say right now, but thank you for listening. We'll be back in a minute.